morning to you. It is a Thursday morning, and you're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm thinking to myself this morning, wow, it's Thursday, and the United States Senate actually did something yesterday, Kim. For the first time, they did this late last night, if you're just waking up. And it's really rather shocking because we were told they couldn't do this. Remember, we were told, we don't have the votes to do that. We can't change rules in the Senate. We can't pass things without cloture. We can't do this. We can't do that. And lo and behold, last night, the U.S. Senate rammed through a bill to bankroll ICE and the Border Patrol through the end of Donald Trump's term. And I'm thinking to myself, you know why it almost failed? Do you have any idea? You know who we have to thank for the fact that it almost failed? Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski. Yeah. The two people that, I used to not put Rand Paul in that category with Murkowski and Collins and, some of the other rhinos. But anymore, I just got to say, it almost failed because Senator John Kennedy insisted that they put the Save America Act in the legislation and get it past the Democrats because this is going to be part of a reconciliation bill, so they wouldn't need any Democrat votes. And his amendment failed. Not enough Republicans had the gonads to just vote for it and see what happened. If the parliamentarian's going to throw it out, so be it. Mm-hmm. But try, because it's what the American people wanted. Yeah. It's what they want. It's what they're demanding. And yet they failed to do that. They did fund ICE and Border Patrol, but they wouldn't go so far as to try to put the Save America Act in there.
It's an 80-20 issue. Even CNN has been reporting on that. And when CNN's reporting on it, that tells you,
well, thank you.
Okay, this is clearly people support this. So why their elected leaders aren't then fairly representing them, I don't understand that.
Yeah, well, that if you're just waking up, that happened overnight, and we are trying to keep an eye on the fallout for it today. Now, it's not clear what's going to happen in the House, where they have a very thin majority. Here's my guess. My guess is they try to add it back in and send it back to the United States Senate, which is, of course, going to gum up the gears on a reconciliation bill because they're not going to have any clear direction here in all of this. And I don't know if it ultimately passes or not. I don't know what to say about that. So we'll see. That's what they did last night, though. And I'm trying to get some of that sound from John Kennedy because I'm sure it's going to be gold. It's going to be radio gold, whatever it is, where he was trying to convince them this is what we ought to do. And if you're worried about rules, let's find out later if it violates the rules or not. But for now, let's put it in there. And they just wouldn't do it. And the only person I can blame for that is a guy named John Thune, who's the majority leader in the Senate. He knows what the American people have been demanding on this and still declined to do it. The other big news yesterday, Kim, I think, was the fact that a court immediately killed the Virginia redistricting bill. Like, it didn't take 8 hours. Somebody filed suit against it. We highlighted during the show yesterday all the different ways that bill was in violation of Virginia's own constitution in the way that it was passed, and a variety of other things. And Cuccinelli said this isn't going to pass the court. And 8 hours later, a judge not only overturned it, he refused the request to allow it to continue in effect until a higher court could rule on it. He wouldn't even give them a little bit of time of having this law in effect. He just said, no, it's unconstitutional. Forget about it. You're going to have to wait till Supreme Court rules on it or whoever it's going to go to there.
I'm surprised that they went through the effort, the money, the time, getting everyone out to vote on it when it wasn't even going to stand
Did you hear
stand 8 hours.
how many millions of dollars the left spent on that? Like out-of-state money flooded into Virginia.
That's my point. Would you not have done your research to make sure that this wasn't going to be ruled unconstitutional immediately?
They
should care because they wasted a lot of money and people's time.
They should care. But I again, now Ron DeSantis is like, hey, maybe we'll do something like that in Florida.
Well, that's what every state's going to say.
Yes, they're all going to try it now, and you can't blame them. And then, as Kim and I were discussing this morning before the show, and Kim, I printed some of this out and brought it in here. I'll get it to you here in a minute. The Missouri House this week approved the bill that would prevent men from going in women's bathrooms. So, in other words, if you think you are a woman, but the dangling participle is still part of your physical makeup, you are now, if this gets through the Senate, not allowed to go into a women's bathroom.
It's surprising how many local media sites didn't cover this. So I started seeing it yesterday on Twitter, of all places. And then listen to the first line here. This is the Kansas City Star's reporting. The Missouri House passed a bill on Monday that would punish cities, public schools, and other government entities that failed to prevent transgender people from using restrooms and other sex-specific spaces that don't align with their sex assigned at birth. I wonder where the reporter stands on this issue who wrote this article.
Or the editor who took whatever the reporter wrote and said, let's throw in some of this liberal demanded language here into the headline.
When you say sex assigned at birth, like I said yesterday, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but I'm just picturing when they put the hats on, they're like, Dumbledore. No, Dumbledore's the guy. Hufflepuff, whatever the house names are.
Hufflepuff. Did you say Hufflepuff?
Isn't that the name of one?
Gryffindor.
Whatever. Slytherin. Like that. It's like the doctor just says, boy, girl. Like, no, it just blows my mind that somebody's not too embarrassed.
Does that, right?
Someone's not too embarrassed to say sex assigned at birth. Sorry, Harry Potter fans. Look, I'm not a big fan. I don't know the house names.
Okay, I just automatically deduct a few IQ points when words like that come out of somebody's mouth. Not Huff and Puff. That's not what I was talking about.
Hufflepuff?
Huffendorf. What was it? I don't. Gryffindor. I knew that one. All right, let's. We got Drew in this morning for Ethan, who's taking a few days off, and wish I could have gone with him, to be honest with you, because he and some buddies are going to go do the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, which sounds like a fantastic time, and hopefully they're going to have some decent weather down there for that in Kentucky. But in the meantime, we've got Drew in the house. Let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
I'd love to see Congress take that up as a priority to ensure that there is bipartisan or nonpartisan. Different states have different options.
How about that? We want them to take that up. Is that what we really want? Is that crazy governor in Virginia who really thinks this is something that the United States Congress needs to take up? Well, I think you just violated your state's constitution, lady.
Another breaking story tonight, a shakeup at the Pentagon, another one, the Navy Secretary departing his post. What do we know?
Yeah, how about that? This is Navy Admiral John Phelan, fired. He was the Secretary of the Navy. Now, this is interesting because apparently he was close enough to the president that he had his cell phone number and would text him ideas. But whatever that was, it stepped on a few toes in the Pentagon, and now he is out.
We hear a lot of talk from the Europeans. Unfortunately, we don't see enough action.
Caroline Levitt, she was asked whether or not, now that we've done the hard work, the heavy lifting in the Strait of Hormuz, now that we've got it under control, are NATO allies showing up yet? Well, surprise, surprise, no.
Breaking tonight, a circuit court in Virginia ruled a short time ago, within the past 2 hours, that the redistricting referendum passed by voters yesterday is unconstitutional.
Yes, indeed they did, Brett Baer, and he had a lot of breaking news yesterday. That was one of the big ones. It didn't take long. It really didn't. So this thing will not even go into effect until it gets to a higher court somewhere who can actually rule on some of the merits of the case. And the judge also declined to do a temporary stay of his order so that it would remain in effect until it was decided. I guess he saw too much danger in that to the political system.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And remember what happened with Missouri's map. When we changed that, there was a lot of controversy behind that, and the judge ruled that was constitutional.
Yeah, well, ultimately, they ruled at the Supreme Court that what Missouri did was constitutional and followed the letter of the law, and what it should have been all along, except that back 2 or 3 years ago when we were arguing for the other map, right, to go to the 7-1 map, everybody screamed bloody murder. You can't do that. You can't do that. Well, if you looked at how the districts were drawn around Kansas City and St. Louis, even Congressional District 1, it's very clear it's drawn for partisan reasons to maintain it as a Dem majority district. And they technically shouldn't do that. It should be opened up, but they're not going to. They're going to avoid doing that if they can. All right, we'll get to a quick break and talk a little bit more about this, particularly this House bill that was just passed in Missouri regarding bathrooms. We've got a copy of that, and I'm going to read to you what that language is when we come back. A little later, we're going to get to Mark Schmidz, father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. The Pentagon has gone back and reviewed the way that the Freedom 13 is what Mark Schmidz calls them, the 13 service members who were killed at Abbey Gate, the way they were given medals of valor, and the Pentagon has amended that. And we're going to talk to Mark Schmidz about it coming up today in the 7 o'clock hour. Of course, Jim Talent is going to join us, and a little later we'll talk to our buddy Griff Jenkins. It's all ahead on the Mark Cox Morning Show.
A powerful threat calls for a greater response.
When there's a battle, bring strength.
When there's a problem, seek answers.
When there is doubt, give hope.
Not tomorrow.
Not in a few years.
But right now.
Some battles must be faced together. Cancer fighters stand up to cancer every day. And you can be part of this battle too.
Visit standuptocancer.org/American Airlines to learn more.
Together, we can save lives.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Things look pretty decent on most roadways. We've got 44 on your westbound side, just past 141. A couple of right lanes are taken out. They're doing some construction in that area on 255 westbound before Telegraph Road. Some more movie road work to look for. And then we've got 44 on the eastbound side past Six Flags Road, a left lane down with more road work, and a couple of right lanes are still open for you. I'm Trent Erickson at 520, my 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk. Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center. Things look pretty decent on most roadways. We've got 44 on your westbound side, just past 141. A couple of right lanes are taken out. They're doing some construction in that area on 255 westbound before Telegraph Road. And then we've got 44 on the eastbound side past Six Flags Road, a left lane down with more road work, and a couple of right lanes are still open for you. I'm Trent Erickson at 520, my 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, let's talk about Chesterfield Fence here for just a minute because they just do great work, and they'd love to come over and take a look at your backyard and maybe give you some suggestions. You might already have an idea what you want. Maybe you went to a neighbor's house and you love what they've done with their backyard. Is it the new screened-in porch? Is it maybe a brand new addition to the back of the house with a big fire pit or, a chimenea or whatever it is you want built out there? They can do all of it. They can do the patio work. They can get that taken care of and get you ready to go for that next big event that you got coming up, maybe a grad party or whatever it happens to be. Get on the schedule. Let them help you out at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. And right now, you call them, you tell them you heard about this from Marc Cox, and they're going to give you 48 months same as cash financing. So you get the job done now, and you enjoy it now, and you take your time paying for it. And it's same as cash, so you're not paying any high interest rates or anything like that, which is just great. Just tells you what kind of company they are. They've been around since 1968. So you can't go wrong with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It's a sign you have the very best when that's in your front yard. Go online today and check out their everything they offer. And you can also find out more about their warehouse, their showroom, which is down in the Chesterfield Valley, online at chesterfieldfence.com.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
Welcome back. Sorry about that. I forgot Sue was off today. Great to get Trent in here for her, but Sue's taking a few days off. Ethan's taking a few days off, so good for them. Hope they have some great weather. Other than a little bit of rain, I think maybe tomorrow night. Let's talk about this bill, Kim, that passed the House, and of course still has to go to the Senate. The thing that always it's always worth a read. If you see this headline on X that says Missouri moves to ban men from women's spaces, which you should celebrate. And on X, though, you always have to read the comments because the comments are the most telling. The comments are a peek inside of the evil, twisted, sick mind of the left that they can't believe that trans women are women. If you would just take a closer look and get to know one, you'd understand, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, what you'd like to do is meet my fist on the end of your nose if you try to come into a bathroom as a fully functioning male while my daughter's in there. I'm sorry. That is a no-go zone. You have no business being in there. You have no business being in her locker room. None whatsoever. And this is a whole separate issue from being able to put on a swimsuit with a little bit of extra material down there and hop in a pool and swim against her. Mm-hmm. Totally different.
Yeah, I mean, this should be something that everyone's celebrating, especially the feminists, ones who, for some reason, have been very quiet on this issue, a lot of them.
Isn't it weird? Yeah, the ones, who supported Title IX to protect women's sports, and now they want to blow all that up because of some serious cases of mental illness that are floating around. Here's the headline. The Missouri House passed the bill that would force entities receiving state funding to restrict the use of restrooms, changing areas, and sleeping accommodations based on biological sex and codify the definition of female, male, and sex throughout the state statute. So in other words, Justice Brown Jackson could come to Missouri and learn what the definition of a woman is.
So, well, that's a very hard word for people to understand on the left. So here's the only thing I'll say. There is someone I know from many, many years ago, and this person had siblings, and I had not seen a picture in a while, and I saw a picture, and I was like, oh, I didn't remember that she had 2 brothers. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot it was a sister. So there are people who have done surgery, and you might not realize that they are actually a man. So that's going to be the challenge. I mean, this is a huge win. It still has to go through the Senate. I get that. Let's just take the win where we can get it. The House passed it. At least it's through one hurdle. But I do wonder how this is going to work, because for the people who were pretty convincing in the way they look because they've done enough surgery and taken enough hormones, I guess they get a pass. But then the weirdos who, like the dude who was at what was it, Lifetime Fitness here in the St. Louis County area, and he was clearly a man and was wearing a dress and claiming to be a woman, trying to be in the women's locker room, he would be the one then obviously booted.
And the people that complained about it were the ones that got in trouble with Lifetime, not
ridiculous.
The freak that was going to go into the women's room.
But do you know what I'm saying? Where some people have already advanced so far into it, so it's going to be interesting.
That's an advanced stage of mental illness is kind of where they are. So the bill would require, among other things, public universities to restrict dorm rooms, bathrooms, and locker rooms based on biological sex. It states that no individual shall enter a restroom, changing room, or sleeping quarters designated for females or males unless he or she is a member of that sex. Here's what the Democrats are worried about. Representative Carrie Engel, a Democrat from Lee's Summit, asked if this would bar college students from having students of the opposite sex in their dorm rooms overnight.
Some Democrat from Kirkwood said that it would prevent him from, as a man, helping his female daughter set up her dorm room. Like, you can help your daughter. What? Come on.
Thank you. And that's the nonsense of it. The answer to this is very simple. You have single-use bathrooms that don't say man or woman on them. They just say restroom. One stall, one person at a time. Go in and use that bathroom. You don't need to be in a bathroom with members of the opposite sex. It's that simple. Come on, Missouri Senate. Get your work done. We'll be back with Kim on a Whim in just a minute.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
We'll get a better idea today how travel spending is holding up as American Express reports earnings. Other companies releasing quarterly numbers include Dow Inc., Hartford Insurance, Intel, Lockheed Martin, and home builder Pulte Group. Josh Schaefer, newsletter editor at Barron's Roundtable, says technology is back in the forefront.
I think markets have largely moved on from the war at this point. We're back to an AI-driven market. The story of this bull market over the last 3 years has been AI and technology leading the market higher. When you look at what led the NASDAQ for its best 13-day stretch since 1992, it was AI hardware stocks. AI hardware stocks, those chip makers, the infrastructure of the AI build-out.
Also released today, the number of people who filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosilda. Invested in you.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decision.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, we've got a stalled vehicle. Watch this on 141 northbound, just past Bloomfield Terrace. That's on the right shoulder. We've got another stall on 70 on the westbound side, just before Lindbergh. We've got it on the shoulder now. And then roadwork clearing off 44 westbound before 185, and then also past 141 in the two right lanes. They're getting that out of the way for you now. This report is sponsored by Triton Exteriors. I'm Trent Erickson at 532 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Triton Exteriors. We take care of your home. It's that simple. Triton-STL.com. Home improvement projects can come with a lot of headaches. We save you time by offering packaged services that are easy to understand and based on your needs. We take care of the details so you don't have to. Visit us at Triton-STL.com. That's Triton-STL.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with selective land clearing. Whether it's for a building site, pasture reclamation, hunting, or trail creation, Missouri Brush Control can transform your unusable acreage into accessible and productive property. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. 5-star rated on Google reviews. See impressive before and after projects today at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to MissouriBrushControl.com.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Every child deserves a childhood. Make-A-Wish creates life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. A wish sparks a ripple of hope that transforms communities far and wide. When we grant wishes together, we create a movement of kindness, strength, and unity. Join us today at wish.org and be part of a journey that truly changes lives.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative. Kim on a Whim.
Kim on a Whim is proudly brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com.
Well, what do you know? Ilhan Omar, just 9 days after she scrubbed millions of dollars from her financial disclosures, her very questionable California winery, the LLC, was dissolved. It just went out yesterday that she had filed paperwork with the state of California back on April 4th, saying she'd like to terminate that. It's basically looks like Est Crew, I believe is how you say it. S Crew LLC. Again, it's S Crew Wines.
Does that stand for S Screw You?
It really should. I think that's probably how they came up with it.
There's probably a U on the end of it they dropped off.
I'm probably not saying it right. I mean, this is just so sketchy. People were saying that they had been digging into this winery because there was no physical, like there was an address, but you couldn't actually go somewhere. There was no brick and mortar. The number you would call, I saw people trying to call it, would take you nowhere. The website was sketchy. There was the Instagram page that I had pulled up this morning that just has some random pictures of wine, but you couldn't really order it. The whole thing was weird. It smelled like fraud, and now her canceling this 9 days after she changed her financial disclosures makes everyone think, yeah, it was completely fraudulent. And people are wondering, because, by the way, the reason why this was so questionable and why people started thinking, maybe this is something more than what she's telling us, because she was initially claiming back in, I think it was like 2023, that it was only worth, let's see. So it says it was like $5,000 or something like that back in 2023, but not worth very much money. But then like a year later, they were saying it was worth like $5 million. So they were questioning, you increased rather the worth of the value of that. So what's going on here? And she had all these excuses for it. And people were wondering, was she funneling money? Like, was she taking money from donors, maybe the Somali community, in exchange for her pushing certain things or trying to protect them? No doubt that was going on. Even if it wasn't the winery where they were funneling the money, I wholeheartedly believe that the donors were doing that.
What did you say the winery was in California?
The winery's in California.
Has there ever been a winery in California only worth $5,000? I mean, the land alone is worth a lot more than that.
Let me make sure it was $5,000. I had all these numbers, but there's so many numbers to keep track of with this
I'm sure.
that I'm trying to remember which one is which. It was not worth a lot of money. I'll say that. And I could understand maybe it's not worth that much when you first get started, but then to skyrocket up that much, millions of dollars more, that was really what started raising red flags.
Yeah.
And her worth, her net worth. That was also very sketchy.
A decimal point or two. Come on.
She tried to say that it was a simple accounting error. No. You don't have a quote-unquote simple accounting error where you initially say that you're worth $100,000 or somewhere in that ballpark, and then
it looks like
a year
million?
later, no, like up to $30 million, and you say, oops. You would know if you're worth somewhere in the ballpark of $100,000 or $30 million, because $100,000 you're doing well, but that's like, okay, that's reasonable. $30 million, you're really rich. You're in the top 1%. So get out of here, Ilhan Omar, with your stupid, it was a simple accounting error. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't even know. No. What's going on with her husband's LLCs, Tim Minette? These are sketchy as all get out. She needs to be investigated. People are calling for her to be investigated, but I hope that they don't let her off easily. And some reporter who she had some run-in with, I guess, not that long ago, went to confront her again about what's going on with her finances.
Congresswoman Omar, the last time I spoke to you, you said that I was stupid for asking you about your financial disclosure, but there's some discrepancies on there. Would you like to explain that? How did you make such a big mistake on it?
Absolutely, you're stupid for asking me anything.
I am? Yes. Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big mistake?
I have explained to the American people.
What's the explanation?
I have given them the explanation.
Do you want to tell our viewers? Because
I don't want to tell you, Jack.
Oh.
How about that?
Okay.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Okay.
What a
Have a good day.
What a smug individual.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make you just want to like.
Okay. I don't
want
want to tell you, Jack.
Okay.
You owe it to the American public to tell us what the heck is going on.
Lindell TV, I think.
Yes, she is.
I think so. Yeah.
Do you know her?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not. I just know I watched that clip and I saw that they related to that. So the minute you identify yourself as being from that organization, any Democrat's going to immediately not want to talk to you because they don't like Mike Lindell at all. And that probably didn't help, but she's not going to answer any questions about this. The fact that she doesn't have to is the most amazing thing, isn't it? If you or I did that, remember what they tried to indict Donald Trump for. This Letitia James, the rotten to the core prosecutor, attorney general in New York, tried to prosecute him for inflating his net worth or the worth of his properties in order to get a loan, a business loan.
Yeah.
The joke of that is everybody does that. If you go to buy a house, your lender's going to have somebody come in and look at what you claim the value of the home is versus what they're going to loan on it. A lot of people are going to try to get the highest loan amount possible.
Right.
That's why they have to have appraisals done on these things, right, to make sure everybody's doing it honestly. And there was no evidence ever that Donald Trump did anything untoward in that transaction, and yet nobody will be able to investigate her as a member of the House over this unless the House Ethics Committee undertakes this.
Yeah, is she going to be dragged through the court system, have her mugshot taken?
No.
You're right. Absolutely not. That's not what's going to happen.
And now she's claiming that that it was an accident, that she inflated her net worth from the numbers don't even match up. She now claims she's worth between $95,000 and $100,000 or something like that versus $30 million. That's not a decimal point accident.
Right. That's not oops, I accidentally added another zero.
Thank you.
No, that's a huge difference. And so no one should be buying her excuse. And the smugness that she has about this of the audacity. She was on some podcast the other day, and someone who was clearly on the left too was questioning her about this, which I appreciated. And she's like, oh, well, go ahead and investigate me. And it's ironic because I don't know specifically when that podcast was recorded, but it is funny how literally 9 days after her financial disclosures were changed, all of a sudden she's dissolving this LLC, this Winery Est Crew or whatever, out of Santa Rosa, California. Because it is sketchy and you were doing weird things. And I believe you were getting money from donors. That's just my own thought. But it seems pretty plausible that that's what you were using it for.
Right. And they're trying to block journalists like Nick Shirley from doing any more investigations in California.
Yeah, think if we stop people like the Nick Shirleys of the world who were not controlled by a parent company like we were, who were told, oh, you can't go investigate this because this doesn't look good, or this isn't in keeping with our brand, or, oh, there's a shooting over here, and so you need to go cover that instead. Someone like Nick Shirley's able to decide what he wants to cover, and he's able to go do it without having cuffs on him, basically.
And you're talking about Channel 4?
Yeah. Any TV station I've worked at.
Right.
Where you're told, no, you can't do this, or, oh, actually, there's been a shooting. Sorry, I know you're doing a really important story, but there's blood, so we, if it bleeds, it leads. Got to go cover that, even though it affects maybe 5 people.
Yeah, that's not going to change. That is the biggest difference I've noticed since leaving the business now 13 years ago, I guess, is that I can watch the news. Generally, the stories don't have any relevance on my life. Mm-hmm. If you're live outside of an empty, dark building at 5 a.m, that's really not relevant to me. It doesn't add any urgency to it, but they do it every morning somewhere. And if you're on the scene of a house fire, if it's not in my neighborhood or my house, it doesn't have a lot of urgency or relevance to me. If you're on the scene of a shooting or a car accident, again, you're letting me know what's going on, but if I'm not driving down there, it doesn't have any relevancy to me. I mean, generally speaking, it's just not. That's why they try to scare you with weather all the time.
Right. Well, weather's their big thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, even though this is a story that matters, and even though she's not our congresswoman, this does have an impact, because you wonder how much this is going on. And certainly it's not just Ilhan Omar who's doing this. I'll bet you there's other Congress members who are also doing similar things. And they should be uncovered, and they should be investigated, and they should be prosecuted if it's found to be that she's actually doing this. Well, and what the legislation that the left is trying, and I'm sure there are some people on the right who are bought and paid for. I'm not pretending like it doesn't happen on the other side, but I'm focusing here on Omar and some of these leftist policies that they're pushing so hard for and protecting these illegals, for example. You have to wonder, is she bought and paid for? Or is she having millions of dollars that are going into these weird, sketchy LLCs from these well, let's just say Somali-run businesses out of Minnesota that are fraudulently getting so much money from the government, taxpayer dollars from the government, and they're funneling it into the LLC, and they're saying, hey, we'll give you $5 million. Just make sure you vote in a way that protects us. And then they're out there the next day doing interviews, telling people why we need to make sure that we're protecting the illegals.
Is her first brother implicated in this?
This is her third husband, I believe, by the way.
It is?
Tim Wynette, or whatever his name, Wynette. Pretty sure it's her third. So I don't know where the brother falls into the lineup.
First?
Very
that's
odd.
a very odd situation there. No doubt about that. All right, we'll be back here in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got 64 eastbound at Route K. We've got a left lane taken out with a new crash popping up. 44 westbound past 141. 2 right lanes are taken out. That's with the road work, and another crash on 70 eastbound at 5th Street. That's off to your right side. And then a stall cleared on 141 northbound past Bloomfield Terrace. That's no longer there. This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes. McKelvey Homes spring event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75% and savings up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. This sale ends May 31st. Schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Trent Erickson at 547 on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
All right, so just yesterday I referred somebody else to my friend Matt Hayes over at Home Shield Foundation Repairs, and my friend had reached out and said, do you know anybody who could, re-pour my garage floor? Help me fix that. Well, guess what? At Home Shield Foundation Repairs, the key word is foundation. Anything that involves concrete at your home is part of your foundation. And if it has to be busted up and repoured or whatever needs to be done, they can take care of that for you. So don't be afraid to call and ask. 314-271-9900 is the phone number that's going to get you to Home Shield Foundation Repairs. I do hear, Matt the other day, I was talking to him, and he tells me, we also do piering. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And he goes, well, sometimes the foundation shifts, and a little bit of shifting is normal, but if it's enough that it's causing cracks in your bricks on the outside of your house, you'll see that stair-stepping look. Or let's say in the inside of your house, around a window or in a corner, you start to notice the drywall, hairline cracks in the drywall. That can mean the foundation wall has shifted. They can fix that. It's not the end of the world, but they dig down and they put in piering that goes deep into the ground, and it supports the wall, and it doesn't allow it to shift anymore. So if you're interested in that, or you started to notice that in your home, you need to at least get a professional opinion on it. And I'm telling you, you can trust Matt Hayes to be honest with you about what you need over at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. Once again, here's his number, 271-9900, or just go online to homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at ourladiesinn.org.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, that's going to fire up a few people, don't you think, Kim St. Ange? The story on Channel 4 that was done yesterday, I guess, by Lauren Traeger, one of their investigative reporters over there. Lauren, and it's about overtime in the St. Louis Police Department. Now, this can't come as a huge surprise that there is an explosion in overtime. That's the headline of the story, right?
Well, they have a huge staff shortage, so you have to offer overtime to fill in the gaps, right?
Thank you. But here's their complaint. They went in and they looked from the Department of Personnel. They got pay data, and they determined that 7 officers in the department earn more than $200,000 with their base pay doubled or nearly tripled by overtime hours. So I don't know. Did anybody do has anybody done the math on that and determined whether or not it wouldn't just be cheaper to employ enough officers to cover the streets of St. Louis instead of forcing the few that we have to work overtime all the time?
I'm sure some of them like the opportunity to make more money. One guy, it says Sergeant Robert Russo, she says top the list, making close to $260,000. Says he worked approximately 90 hours a week every single week last year. It's great that these officers or sergeants have the opportunity to make more money. But yeah, why would it not be cheaper just to fill in some of those holes? You're not going to be able to hire 250 officers, and that's how many they're short. So these officers will still have an opportunity to make overtime, but they won't be stretched as thin.
Yeah. It says Officer Lakeisha Quinn made $247,000, and Douglas Etherton, titled an administrative assistant, made $231,000. More than a dozen employees were paid more than $175,000, putting them above the base pay grade of the chief. Now, remember, the officers with white shirts are not allowed to get paid overtime. So that's why they had to figure out a way for the chief to make extra money by giving him the job of assistant professor or whatever at the community college, because they had to figure out a way to funnel extra money to him to make up for the money that went away from downtown St. Louis or whoever the group was that funded an extra $100,000 of his salary to get him to come here.
So the lieutenants, though, I remember being a reporter for Channel 4. Lieutenants were the ones who would wear the white shirt.
Yes.
Any lieutenant or up in rank.
Yes.
So you're saying they can't get overtime, but an officer or a sergeant could.
Sure.
Man, if I were a lieutenant, I'd be like, hey,
yeah,
I'd actually like to be back at a sergeant level so that I can make more money. Yeah.
And you get better. I mean, they still work shift work.
Better hours.
Generally
maybe.
speaking, it has its perks, I'm sure. But you are restricted on that. A lot of them work seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll work security at the Fox or the Enterprise Center or somewhere like that to try to make ends meet. Almost all of them. My father-in-law was a cop. He worked 2 or 3 jobs his entire life to make ends meet for his family. I don't feel bad for these officers. They probably want to work, and they can probably make more getting overtime on their own job than having to go stand outside of White Castle somewhere and provide secondary security.
Right. But here's the other question. So it says that 16-hour shifts are not completely uncommon with policing. Do we want that? This, to me, just seems like a job where you need to be on it. And I understand that we all have crazy busy schedules, and you have nights where you're, not sleeping as well, or you're doing stuff. And even if you had an 8-hour shift, you wouldn't necessarily be fully with it or on your game. But somebody in that role, do we want them working that long of a shift? Now, if they're just standing outside doing something simple, I could understand that. But if you're responding to scenes and you're having to act with seconds to spare, I don't know.
I am trying to look here through the copy in the party in the story here where it says the mayor's office, the city controller, the police union, and the police board all declined to comment specifically on this story. That's unacceptable.
Agreed.
So they need to track down the mayor and say, if there are truly concerns about somebody working 90 hours a week. Now, think about that. Most people work 40.
Mm-hmm.
If they work more than that, they probably expect some overtime. But that's double. So somebody's working 90 hours a week.
That's insane.
That means they're taking a double shift every day. Plus some.
Says St. Louis County Police spent $10.3 million in overtime last year. St. Louis Fire Department also has employees topping overtime charts. 7 fire personnel made more than their chief last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not just with the
Well,
police.
the city clearly has made a calculated decision here that it's cheaper to work the hell out of some of these officers than to hire new ones. They've clearly made that determination somewhere. That's the question the mayor needs to be asked. I mean, good for you if you can work as a police officer in the city, but what's your family life like if you're having to work 90 hours a week? I mean, you're it's not fair to them either. I'm sure they like the income, but when do they have time to spend it?
Yeah, what good is money if you don't have the time together?
Thank you. I don't know. I'm really surprised the police union wouldn't have any comment on that because they've been pushing for hiring new people. I don't know. It's an interesting story there for sure. All right, coming up, we'll talk to Tom Ackerman. The Cards continue to look pretty good. Maybe a few holes in their pitching. We'll talk to Tom about that coming up about 6:35.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to hear you.
Hey, Dad, isn't it good to see ya?
Yep, but with smoke alarms, we need to hear them. If one alarm is downstairs, you might not hear it upstairs.
At school, everyone hears the fire alarm.
That's why we install hardwired smoke alarms that all go off together, just like school.
Smoke alarms done the right way.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Does heart disease run in your family? Give yourself peace of mind with our cardiac MRI bundles at Specialty MRI. Personalized scans designed to give you clear, meaningful answers. No long waiting rooms. Scan today for a peace of mind tomorrow. Call us at 636-591-1288. That's 636-591-1288.
True comfort is something you feel every day, and something your home should deliver effortlessly. It's in the quiet of your mornings, the consistency of your indoor temperature, and the way your home feels season after season. With Renewal by Andersen, every detail is designed for lasting performance and a seamless, refined experience. From consultation through installation, everything is handled by one experienced team, built around your home and your schedule. And with our exclusive Fibrex material, stronger than vinyl and built for extreme temperatures, you get durability that lasts. Save 20% off your entire project. Plus, take an additional $100 off every window and door, up to $1,000. With flexible financing options available, you can move forward with confidence. But this offer won't last long. Call by April 30th. Call 877-WINDOWS. Or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or renewalbyandersen.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A vote in the Senate at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
This vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 48.
Approving a resolution that's a step toward ending a funding standoff for ICE and Border Patrol, which Democrats can't block as they keep demanding immigration enforcement reform.
This is a budget tool that allows Republicans to pass legislation with a simple majority, and overnight they unlock the first step of this lengthy process by approving a budget resolution. The measure sends $70 billion to ICE and CBP, funding the agencies through the rest of President Trump's term.
Fox's Madeline Rivera, the House has to consider it next. In Virginia, the day after voters approved congressional redistricting that could give Democrats 4 more House seats in the November elections, a judge blocks it,
deeming it as unconstitutional. And Democrats already vowing to fight back. Virginia's Democratic Attorney General Jay Jones writing, "My office will immediately file an appeal in the Court of Appeals. As I said last night, Virginia voters have spoken, and an activist judge should not have veto power over the people's vote."
It's day 10 of the U.S. military blockade around Iran's ports.
It's costing Iran's economy about $500 million a day. The White House says it's prepared to continue this blockade for as long as needed. President Trump tells Fox there is no rush and no time frame to end the war.
Fox's Brian Yanis in Tel Aviv.
CENTCOM says so far 31 ships have been turned away or blocked because of this blockade. And new this morning, we now know that 3 of those ships were Iranian oil tankers that were blocked in Asian waters thousands of miles away.
Wildfires keep scorching northern Florida, southern Georgia. More than 50 homes have burned down, 20,000 plus acres charred, and the biggest of the fires barely contained.
And the weather conditions are not working in our favor. It's going to be a hot, dry day. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-80s, and we're also looking at a little bit of wind.
Fox weather meteorologist Britta Merwin. America's listening to Fox News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Welcome into Thursday. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Hey, a nice morning now. 6:03 is our time. 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. The city of Wildwood is now at the center of an officer-involved shooting investigation. Officers were called to the 18,000 block of Wild Horse Farm Court around 8 o'clock last night for a domestic issue. They say a man was in the front yard when they arrived with a gun. One of the officers shot him after some sort of an altercation. The man was then taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Thankfully, no one else was hurt. The Missouri House has passed a bill banning men from using the women's bathroom or locker room in schools or any organization that gets state funding. A Democratic state representative from Kirkwood claims under this bill, as a man, he wouldn't be allowed to help his daughter set up her dorm room. The legislation now heads to the Senate for a vote. Anheuser-Busch opening a new technical skills training center at its brewery as part of a $600 million investment. AB plans to work with trade schools and offer workers advanced training to help them increase their capabilities. The new St. Louis Technical Skills Training Center will be one of about 15 across the country. All will be open by the middle of next year. All right, in sports, unfortunately, it was a 4-1 loss for the Cardinals as they wrapped up the series with the Marlins yesterday. Coming up tomorrow, Cards kicking off a 3-game series that'll be at home against the Mariners. And tonight, NFL draft starts at 7 o'clock. Indiana University's quarterback Fernando Mendoza expected to be the number 1 overall pick. Our time right now, 6:04, 57 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch for a crash on 70 eastbound. That's at the Missouri River. We've got a right lane closed. Sometimes they need 2 right lanes as well, so it's pretty slow going approaching that area. 64 eastbound at 170. Right side is taken out with a stall. Another one on 270 northbound at 64 on the ramp to 64. The right shoulder is taken out with that one as well. I'm Trent Erickson at 6:05, 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperatures stay above average, but it's a pretty nice Thursday. Sunny. Let's call it a little bit breezy from the south, 83. Tonight, clouds take over. Dry for the evening. Some scattered showers developing after midnight, 65. Friday, clouds with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms around anytime Friday, 78 degrees. It's not a severe weather outbreak, but there could be some heavy downpours of rain. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
57 degrees now. Our time is 6:06. You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Listen to it anytime. All you have to do is download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, things got quiet all of a sudden. I guess I should talk. Good morning to you. Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Mark. That is Kim St. Ange. Drew Young in this morning for the vacationing Ethan Bright, and we got Trent in for Sue Thomas as well this morning. They'll both, I believe, both be back on Monday, won't they? Or Sue off on Monday?
Sue's
too?
off Monday and Tuesday. But, you and I have gotten grief for taking off, though I took off when I had a baby, so I'm not really sure that's quite the same. I will point out, though, you and I are the two OGs who were still here.
I know. Let's point that out. Thank you very much. We showed up, didn't we? By the way, I will be off Monday. I'll go ahead and tell people that I lost an aunt, and she was 101 years old. Loved my Aunt Lily. She was one of my favorites. She always made me strawberry cake. It was like the best cake you've ever eaten in your life. And she lived a good, long life, and they're having a celebration of her life on Sunday in a different state. So I'm going to have to take Monday off, but I'll be back here on Tuesday for sure. I did want to mention that, I discovered something yesterday, Kim, that made me very excited. Of course, I told you we moved to St. Charles County coming up on it'll be 2 years this late summer, and they just opened a brand new Rosalita's Mexican restaurant in O'Fallon, Missouri, right near Mexico Road and Highway K. And I got to tell you, if you haven't, it's one of the most incredible buildings that I've been in. Can I just in the greater St. Louis area in terms of restaurants? You got to go by and check it out. We got a tour from the business manager, took us on a little tour when we were there yesterday, and it's incredible. It's not only is it massive, right, and they're going to have a great outdoor area for seating as well, but they hand make all of their furniture that you sit on when you're there, the chairs, the high-top chairs, the low-top chairs. They brought a bunch of furniture in, I guess, from Mexico, like authentic Mexican credenzas and all of this stuff. And the tables, like the workmanship, it's incredible. It really is. And I was thrilled that I don't have to drive all the way to Manchester and 270 or downtown to get to a Rosalita's now.
Funny how when you live in St. Charles County, that feels like a really long ways away. And I know I get made fun of for that, but look, it is. It takes like 20, 25 minutes, sometimes with traffic longer.
Well, if you haven't, if you've been to the one down there at Manchester and 270, this brand, it has some similarities. Obviously, they have a theme that they follow there, but you got to see this place. I mean, it's right by Harbor Freight. If you know where that is, there, like Mexico Loop Road and Highway K, which would be just south of Interstate 70. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. I would highly recommend that you check that out if you like the food. It's because it was really good. It was amazing. All right, we got lots to get to. We're going to get Ackerman a little later this hour. We'll talk about how the Cardinals are doing. We're going to talk to Mark Schmidz at the top of the next hour. He, of course, is the father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, who lost his life at Abbey Gate in that failed withdrawal effort by the Biden administration. You know, those 13 soldiers were posthumously given the Medal of Valor. But the Pentagon has gone in and looked at that, and they've changed it. And we're going to talk to Mark Schmidz about that coming up. And plus, of course, he's doing the Freedom 13 effort to help veterans. And they've got a couple of big things coming up as well that we're going to talk about when we get him on here. And I just found out, and I didn't know this, I remember remember recently when the Trump administration announced there had been an arrest, they had grabbed the person they believe was one of the ones responsible for that bombing that killed our 13 troops, that killed 13 people, and they've now got him in the U.S., and apparently his trial, this terrorist trial, gets underway this week in New York. Mark was telling me that last night when we were talking, so we're gonna get an update on that next hour as well. Jim Talent in to talk about the latest. I want to talk to him about this reconciliation bill that the Senate passed, because obviously Jim, having served in the House and the Senate, understands the reconciliation process. This happened late last night. If you're just waking up, the U.S. Senate passed its version of a reconciliation bill that would fund ICE and Border Patrol for the next 3 years, like till the end of Trump's term. And that way, even if something was crazy was to happen in November, like the Democrats regaining control of the House and trying to shut down everything and investigate Trump for the next 2 years, that funding is already in place. I support that. What they failed to do was attach the Save America Act to it, which is hugely disappointing. And I'm hoping that when it gets to the House, they're going to fix that and send it back, because John Thune is going to go down in history as a massive coward unless this thing gets passed before the midterms. That's what they need to do. If they can pass it without a single Democrat vote, then that's what if that's the only way to do it, that's what they need to do, in my opinion. So we'll talk to Senator Talent about that. And a little later, Kim sent me this story yesterday, and I laughed when she sent it to me. Did you know that there is a business in America where you can rent a robot? And I'm not talking about for, like Rosie on the Jetsons, who takes care of your every need like a housekeeper. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about for entertainment purposes. You can rent a robot to show up at your next party or your kid's birthday party or your wedding and lead people dancing to the Macarena out on the dance floor, I guess, if that's what you want to. Like, the video is amazing.
The robots can also give keynote speeches. They shake hands. They can tell jokes. They can do all kinds of things.
I've never seen anything quite like it. And we're going to have the founder of this company, the Robot Shop, joining us here at 8:20 this morning. Kim was intrigued. She said, we got to find out more about this. I think this is going to become more and more common. It's currently not. And that's why the website is just fascinating. So we're going to talk to him in the 8 o'clock hour today. But right now, Drew, let's go ahead and get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
There are numerous lawsuits to get the new redistricting map thrown out.
Yeah, Stuart Varney talking about that. One of them was successful, by the way. And a judge has already shut down what Virginia tried to do. Ken Cuccinelli, I read that yesterday, his thoughts on it, former Attorney General in Virginia, who said this is blatantly unconstitutional. It violates the Virginia Constitution, and a judge very quickly agreed with him.
It's almost as if, we've forgotten on the Democratic side that the real enemy, the real threat, the real danger is Iran.
Isn't that something? John Fetterman. This guy, raise a flag for this guy, man. I'm telling you what, he is saying things that I've never heard a Democrat say in many years. But that why would you be rooting for our enemy? Like he's telling his fellow senators and the House members there, wake up.
I think Warsh has a significant career and credentials of his own.
Well, I hope so. Rand Paul, not a very dependable vote on anything these days, but he is talking there about the Fed chairman, Kevin Warsh, the proposed Fed chairman, who obviously still needs to get to a vote to take over the Fed. He's the one that Elizabeth Warren got sort of embarrassed during her questioning of him yesterday.
Really? So who do you think leaked the Dobbs decision? Your theory of it?
So unlike Mark Halperin, I do not think it was one of the justices. And everyone I spoke with, they might have different theories. Nobody thinks it's a justice.
Now, how about that? Molly Hemingway comes through again yesterday during this interview talking about the leak of the Dobbs decision in the Supreme Court of the United States. And what she said about the investigation is the part of this I want you to hear, because she's clearly got really good sources inside of the United States Supreme Court. And I don't know that we ever get an answer on this. I mean, it almost had to be a staffer that did this. And if that's the case, why would the Chief Justice cover that up? Identify the person, fire them, and let's get it over with. I'll let you hear the rest of that Molly Hemingway bite coming up here in just a couple of minutes, because she's doing, again, the job that many of these investigative reporters have clearly just given up on, in my opinion. We'll get to all that and more for you when we come back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, 64 eastbound. You've got a crash working at Route K. Left and right lane are taken out with that one. 70 westbound before Lindbergh. We've just clearing a stall out of the way there. And 70 eastbound at the Blanchette. We've got a right lane taken out with a crash. This report is sponsored by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to toss out the dusty treadmill and your leggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio to start your spring off right. I'm Trent Erickson at 617 on 97.1 FM Talk.
My friends at Lakeside Renovation and Design just posted a great video on social media the other day, and it was showing these beautiful wood floors that they put to make it kind of a seamless transition from one room to the other. Those are the kinds of things that the in-house designers at Lakeside Renovation and Design can help you with. Sometimes we know we want change, we don't know how to go about it, or you feel like maybe there's a space in your home you're not really using, or you could be using more efficiently. You can call Lakeside Renovation and Design. Just pick their brain. Ask them, hey, what's the solution here? Because Lakeside does projects all over the St. Louis area, and they do basically every kind of project. So they could help you with a beautiful new custom kitchen, a bathroom that's going to make you feel like you're staying in a luxury hotel all the time. They do roofing, decks. They could help you finish your basement. Maybe you just want more space to host your family and friends, or have a kid-friendly space where you can kind of hang out upstairs and have the kids running around playing downstairs. Maybe you've been dreaming of an outdoor oasis. As the weather's getting nicer, Lakeside Renovation and Design can build you a space that's going to just feel like your own little retreat right there at your home. Lakeside has hundreds of 5-star reviews. This is a company that has an A+ rating from the BBB. I love that they're veteran-founded, family-owned company. Great family, by the way. And what's cool is they have a showroom in Chesterfield, so you can go there in person, talk to one of the designers about the latest trends, see all these different options that they offer. Lakeside also has an option. If you go to their website, lakesiderd.com, in the bottom right-hand corner, you can chat directly with someone from the company. It's not some bot. It's actually someone. It's Candace. I know Candace. She's great. And she can answer any of your questions. Even if you're not ready to start the project, just ask her some questions and she'll point you in the right direction. Entire crew over there at Lakeside Renovation is in-house, so you can trust who they're going to be sending to work on one of these projects. They're going to get the job done, and they're going to back it up with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Go check them out. It's Lakeside Renovation and Design, and the website is lakesiderd.com.
The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. Oh, if the stories we tell in the commercial breaks, you just go on air, some of us would be in a whole lot of trouble. All right, Molly Hemingway. I played the bite for you the other day, where basically Molly was describing in detail that leak in the Supreme Court on the Dobbs decision. Now, what my point on that was that Elena Kagan supposedly was screaming at one of the other justices, one of the other Democrats, not wanting him to agree too quickly on the dissent so they could drag out the drama after the decision was leaked, because there were protests, there were justices whose lives were being threatened, and I never really thought about it at the time, but the reason that it was leaked, it's very obvious to me, and she reports it here, is that if one of the justices who voted to overturn Dobbs had died, it would mute the decision. They would have to go back and reconsider it. And it never dawned on me as one reason for leaking it, in hopes that somebody would take action. And what did they do? They caught a guy at Kavanaugh's house with duct tape and weapons, and he was clearly there to harm a United States Supreme Court justice. So they're crazy people out there, and it sounds like with a wink and a nod, whoever did this had ill intent. Listen to Molly describe this the other day.
Even though there were 5 justices willing to overturn Roe and prepared to do that, it wouldn't be final. If one of them were killed, in fact, Roe would not have been overturned. It was clear that people were trying to either, God forbid, physically harm these people or otherwise intimidate them away from their decision. There are laws on the books against doing this. And yet Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice basically let everything continue, declined to prosecute in any way the people who were trying to affect the outcome.
So if you think about what she's saying there, could you prove the intent of the person that released it? I don't know. You certainly could have. It has to be, what they did has to be illegal. It certainly went against any precedent in the Supreme Court in its history. And there's a limited number of people. Now, I'm not a criminal investigator. I know criminal investigators. I don't think you have to be the sharpest tool in the shed to understand the fact that in the Supreme Court there have to be fewer than 100 employees. I don't know what the number is. Maybe I'm wrong. So even if it's double that, there are only a limited number of people who would have access to those documents, right? And they all have a computer, and they all have a login on their computer. And if they accessed any, you could narrow it down pretty quickly to the handful of people who had accessed that document, the draft version of overturning Roe v. Wade in the Dobbs decision, written by the majority. There would have been a limited number of people. It's not brain surgery. They have to know who did this. So the next question is to Molly Hemingway, do you know who leaked this information? And here was Molly's answer to that. She gave this interview separately yesterday on a different podcast when the anchor asked her, who did this, Molly? And listen to her answers. Irritating. Not on her part, but just the facts are irritating to me. Listen.
Really? So who do you think leaked the Dobbs decision? Your theory of it?
So unlike Mark Halperin, I do not think it was one of the justices. And everyone I spoke with, they might have different theories. Nobody thinks it's a justice. They view that as too reckless. And it was Halperin's theory that it was, in fact, Elena Kagan. He said she's the most political. She has the closest relationship with the reporter who wrote the piece, he was saying. And so, but I think most people think it's a clerk. It had to be someone who had access to the documents in question that year. It's a fairly small universe of people. There are some clerks who were highlighted in the press as having some particularly strident viewpoints related to abortion and relationships with the reporter in question. But I don't think we'll know until that person admits it. We won't know for sure until that person admits it, or unless that person admits it, because the investigation that was done was kind of a joke.
Well, they won't ever admit it. And I never thought it was a Supreme Court justice. I've always thought it was a staffer.
I assumed it was a staffer who, with a wink and a nod, was told by an activist Supreme Court justice, make sure a reporter gets their hands on that because America's going to burn. Because the people who love to see babies aborted are going to take to the streets in protest when they find out that their right to kill children is about to be restricted. And they knew that, and they clearly... So maybe, in a conspiracy case, you're all equally guilty. Maybe if they went to the person and said, you're going to go to federal prison because of what you did here, then that person would turn state's evidence and say, but Justice so-and-so is the one that told me with a wink and a nod that I needed to do that. That would be the only way that would go down. So it makes sense to me that the investigation was kind of a joke. Mm-hmm. They never intended for it to be a full, serious investigation because, and I'm convinced of this, Justice John Roberts is too worried about his legacy on the court. He tries to be a peacemaker instead of a conservative justice, looking at the law and applying it based on what it says instead of how you feel. And that's the difference between the conservative judges and the liberal judges. Mm-hmm. And I think it had to be the Chief Justice who tamped this down and didn't want to get to the answer because the answer would have pointed in the direction of one of the other justices, and he didn't want that on his record. He just didn't want it, and that's a shame. But pretty scary stuff that can happen. Coming up, we're going to get to Tom Ackerman, KMOX Sports Director. We'll talk about the Cardinals.
In today's fast-moving job market, staying ahead means keeping your skills sharp. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we help keep your capabilities cutting edge with our skills-based education programs designed to move your career forward. Explore more than 135 degrees and certificates in business, cybersecurity, and more. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 57 degrees now. Our time is 6:30. Ferguson leaders are preparing to vote on tax breaks for a proposed massive data center at the old Emerson campus. Depending on what happens at tonight's city council meeting, the developer of that data center could get $1 billion in tax breaks. Officials passed the first reading of that plan earlier this week. Police are investigating a deadly shooting in the Delmar Loop near the metro station. That shooting happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon in the 700 block of Hodemont Avenue. Police say that shooting happened in the street, not at the metro stop itself. All right, our time right now is 6:31 here on this Thursday morning. It is 57 degrees right now downtown at the Arch. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, we've got a crash working on 70 eastbound at the Missouri River, left and right lanes with that one. 270 northbound at just past 44. Right lane is closed with a stall working on 270 on the southbound side. In that same area, you've got some gapers delays, and 70 eastbound, make that westbound side is a little bit slow going as you pass Florissant. This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. I'm Trent Erickson at 631 97.1 FM Talk.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy, weight gain, or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
At a local speed dating event, homeowners weren't looking for love. They were looking for the one.
Honey, I got the best news.
What, you installed all the ceiling fans?
No, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Yeah, oh, you are, but this one is certified, background check, and everyone was fighting over him. Plus, he can install all the ceiling fans.
Okay, who is this guy?
A Jerry Kelly technician.
For heating, cooling, electrical, or plumbing, find the one for your home. Schedule today at JerryKelly.com.
All right, here's another 5-star review from my friends at Rhino Shield. How about that? One of the best investments I've ever made. This is our second house that we've coated with Rhino Shield. The quality of the workmanship, the attention to detail, the cleanup work afterwards, simply outstanding. Darren and his team exceeded my expectations. Highly recommend Rhino Shield. That is from Suda, and that sounds very much like my experience with them. And they have been sending me lots of pictures from Wildwood, a house that had unpainted brick and some aluminum and a little bit of color lock siding on the side of it. And they were able to go in and fix it up. And I'm telling you what, the pictures, the before and after pictures are eye-popping. And I know the neighbors are probably jealous, and that's good news for Rhino Shield because they'll get even more work out of it. I think that's great. You should reach out to them. Let them come out and show you this great product. The best thing for me is that it just does away with your concerns on maintenance on whatever's on the outside of your house. 25 years. Think about that. It's not going to chip, crack, or peel for 25 years. It holds its color, all of that stuff. It is just beautiful and durable. And there's no way around that. And once you see it for yourself, you'll understand why so many people, thousands of people in the sound of my voice, have taken advantage of Rhino Shield over the years. Call Darren today. Get your free evaluation of this great product. The phone number is 877-25-RHINO. The website is 87725rhino.com.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
As parents, we measure our child's life in firsts. First steps, first words. But for me, the most important was my son's first breath. Because of Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, that moment led to so many more. His first laugh, first birthday, the first time he said, "I love you, Mama." Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund. Your gift helps build a place where more childhood firsts are possible.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call my friends at Zero Res. Marc Cox here. It's the perfect time to clean your air ducts as you deal with allergy season. You know, your furnace, your AC efficiency, all of that matters. Your air ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air is going to suffer. Right now, you get a whole system air duct cleaning for just $5.99. Pay less for fresh. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com.
From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This is pretty funny, you know, as a twice left at the podium bride, right? Left at the altar. St. Louis knows what it feels like to lose an NFL team. Right? I mean, obviously the Cardinals and the Lambs, who left us most recently. And, you know, ever so often people toy with the idea of maybe eventually the NFL will return to St. Louis. I'm done with them. They're a woke organization these days that I don't care if they come back or not. But I am watching what's going on in Chicago. I was just talking to Kim about that in the break because it's become a political issue over there now. Darren Bailey is running for governor in Illinois, and he just put out a press release slamming J.B. Pritzker and the Democrats for trying to bail out the Bears and keep them from moving to Gary, Indiana. They're going to throw hundreds of millions of dollars at these multimillionaire NFL owners just to try to get them to keep their stadium in Chicago. So I think that's pretty funny. Because they're the ones that are always talking about people paying their fair share, and now they're going to bail out the billionaires. Well, we're going to try to get Bailey on the air, and we'll talk a little bit more about that issue. Hey, why don't we get to our friend Tom Ackerman, please?
The great sportsman like Tom Ackerman. Baseball is really not a hard sport.
It is Anchorman, not Anchor Lee.
It's like powered by coffee this morning.
Sports, sponsored by McDonald's, reminding you to round up your total for Ronald McDonald House Charities on your next order.
Good morning, Tom Ackerman. How are you?
Guys? Sorry I'm late. They got me doing all kinds of stuff over there.
Hey, we got you in the spotlight this morning on the Window World webcam there. I'm sorry about that. It's making one side of your face look like the edge of the sun.
That's okay.
So
let's move it over here. Look at that. See?
Hey, nice.
Who knew I was a lighting expert? What's going on, man?
I know what you'll be doing tonight.
Well, I'm going to actually I'll tell you what I'm going to do tonight.
Okay. All right.
I've got, I only have 4 minutes to talk to you. Okay. Tonight I will be speaking to the Vandalia, Illinois Rotary Club. It is their 100th anniversary.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be talking about veterans and about community service and a lot of the things that I've done with the veterans. But we're also going to talk a little sports. And yes, I know what you're referring to is by that time, I will officially be a Las Vegas Raiders fan, and Fernando Mendoza will be picked first overall. I owe it to him. He gave me the greatest sports moment of my life, and the Heisman Trophy winner national champion is going to be a great NFL quarterback. Also, Jeremiah Love, the St. Louisan Notre Dame running back from CBC, will probably go 3 or 4 overall.
Wow.
To either the Arizona Cardinals or the Tennessee Titans. Very, very proud of him representing our city. We've had some great players come out of here. Jeremiah Love is among the best. So that's exciting as well. It's a great day. The NFL draft's great. It's in Pittsburgh. There'll be hundreds of thousands of people milling about in downtown Pittsburgh, and I envy that.
They've closed the schools today.
Well,
Tom.
they're remote.
Well,
for like
they
3
made
days.
school remote.
They should
for the next couple days because
they should make everything
just because of the NFL draft.
That's what they should do that for Cardinals opening day here. Everyone should be remote. You should just shut the thing down, and that should be our national holiday. We're a baseball town like Pittsburgh's a football town.
Yeah, how they doing in your limited amount of time we've got?
Who, the Cardinals?
Yeah, the Cards.
They're doing great.
Yeah.
They lost the series to the Marlins. They fell yesterday, but they sat 3 guys because it's a day game after a night game, and got to get an extra day for Walker and Wynn and Burleson. I get that. So they lacked some offense. I'll tell you what, though, that Memphis team's got some bombers down there. They hit 3 long home runs last night, the Memphis Redbirds. Jimmy Crooks, Joshua Baez, Nelson Velasquez. So there are reinforcements in Memphis when they want to go get them. The Cardinals have some depth. They have some excitement. They're a fun team. They're coming back home to play Seattle this weekend. The Dodgers are here next weekend. The Pirates in between there, they go to 4. All 5 teams in the NL Central are 500 or better. The worst team in the Central right now is the Brewers at 3 games over. So it's an awesome division, best division in baseball, and the Cardinals are right in the thick of it.
Weren't the Brewers the best team for the NL Central? Weren't they best for last year?
They were, and they probably will be the best again. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, they're only 2 out, so all 3.
It's so early in the season. Yeah.
Yeah. The Brewers will probably win it. The Cubs will be good. They've been a little disappointing, but now they've won 8 in a row. So
they've got a rally rat. Did you see that video?
Did I see that was it that stadium they want the UFC to be able to have events there?
What's that?
Wasn't it in Chicago? They want to have. No, I don't think it was the Cubs. I can't remember.
What did you say, UFC?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's far out of my range. I'm not. That's Drew's territory.
Oh yeah,
Drew, is that true?
Drew, you're
somewhere
a
in Chicago.
UFC
they
fan,
want
aren't
UFC
you?
there.
I hadn't heard that.
I feel like I read that somewhere.
Drew doesn't know. Then
it's not a thing.
Drew's locked into that, man.
That and aliens.
Yeah,
at the White House.
But wow, you guys are all over the place. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it.
Welcome to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Yeah, man, good stuff. And what else is going on? I would say absolutely nothing. It's all about Fernando Mendoza and the NFL draft. No, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are great. NBA playoffs are going on. Baseball's rocking. It's a good time of year. But yeah, today's a fun day for me. You know?
So how much is that Las Vegas Raiders jersey with Mendoza's name on it going to cost you? Have you looked into that yet?
I'm only going to get like a hat or something.
Oh,
or
come on.
Pullover. I'm not a jersey wearer. No, that's not me, man.
What are they're like $180, aren't they, or more than that?
More than that, if you want an authentic. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, but for Tom,
I know you got to run. Tom.
That'd be worth it. For
I
him.
better hop back over.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
All right,
have
go
fun
Raiders.
tonight. Good luck in Vandalia, and that's fantastic. You're doing that. I think that's great.
You know what we need?
That's a little bit of a haul for you too.
You know, at the airport where they have those things where you're walking on them, but it helps you speed along.
Yeah.
That's what we need from here to the KMOX studios.
Oh, down the hallway to get to
We're
help
usually in a
speed
rush.
Tom along down there.
Like for commercial breaks and stuff, trying to go fill up our coffee. Although now we have coffee right here.
We do.
In the
And
studio.
Who did
Thank
that
you,
for you,
Mark?
Kim?
Yes, you.
Because,
I appreciate that.
Well, because I'm trying to prepare my future employment. Like if the radio gig ever suddenly ends one day,
Barista
you
Mark?
just never know. I can become the first ever conservative barista. It's going to be awesome. Would you accept? You got to ask the liberals. Would they accept a cup of coffee from somebody with no body tats or nose rings and no blue in their hair?
Yeah.
It's just a question.
And remember, after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, people were going and ordering the drink that he wanted, and it was well known enough where the baristas were writing snotty things on some of the cups. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because they were so mad about it, because I guess that was showing people were conservative. You could write things like, "We love Trump," and things that would just shock everybody. They'd probably be so mad, the liberal accepting the coffee who paid for it, they'd chuck it right back at you.
They might. They very well might. So anyway, I'm just saying. I brought in some special coffee, and each morning I've been making a pot of it and bringing it to the studio to keep Kim chugging along here.
Well, if you'd like to bring an espresso machine and make some lattes for us, then you really could be called a barista.
That's too noisy. We can't do that in the studio. I'm sorry. You'll have to come to the store. All right, coming up, we're going to get to in other news. Top of the hour, Mark Schmidz is going to join us, and we'll talk more about the Freedom 13 and also the Pentagon re-examining the Valor medals that were given to the 13 service members who died at Abbey Gate. All that and more coming up on the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
So things are filling in a little bit if you're headed on 55 on the northbound side through the work zone around Bayless on up to about Virginia. 270 northbound from Gravois up to Manchester is getting a little slow as well. And 44 westbound just past 141, they're clearing some road work out of the way, out of a lane there. 70 westbound before Lindbergh, they're just opening up the lanes there from an earlier stall in the right lane. And 64 eastbound at Route K, left lane is still closed, but they're working on clearing that out of the way. That's a crash. This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes. The McKelvey Homes Spring Event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75% and savings up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. This event ends May 31st. Schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Trent Erickson at 647 on 97.1 FM Talk.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us, and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600. Or on the website, bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time.
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
Well, Elizabeth Smart, who many of us know she calls herself, I think, a child safety advocate, but she was abducted when she was 14 years old back in 2002.
Right, I remember the case.
Held captive for 9 months. But
wow.
Anyway, she's a pretty well-known name now. Well, anyway, she started competing in bodybuilding competitions, and she just posted a picture to Instagram showing her in her bikini. The girl is ripped. I mean, she looks awesome, and this is something she's been doing, I guess, where she was a little nervous to let people know because she thought maybe people wouldn't take her seriously as an advocate. But, I mean, more power to her.
What a transition. Now, she was never even remotely overweight at all.
No.
But whatever she's done to trim down that little bit of body fat that she had to compete, I mean, you're right. She is cut.
Probably a lot of protein.
Probably spending hours a day she must not have anything else to do. She's spending a lot of time at the gym, clearly. And good for her, because that would take, she's already been a very public person.
Right.
But to come out and publish a picture like that, I'm sure she's proud of what she's accomplished there. But that's a pretty bold step on her part.
Yes, it is.
Wow. All right. I've seen this situation on planes, we all have, where somebody shows up, particularly on the Southwest flights before when it was the cattle call and you had to find seats once you got on, where families would suddenly find themselves separated, and then inevitably they would ask the flight attendant to ask somebody to move so that they could all sit together. And sometimes people get grouchy about that and just decide, I'm not going to do it. This is my seat. I picked it. I'm going to stay here. And some guy, Karma, came back to get him here on a flight. He paid extra for an aisle seat, right? This is what he wanted. And he's 30 years old. He pays extra for an aisle seat due to his size. When he sat down, however, he was surprised to find a small boy seated next to him in the middle seat. And at first, he was excited because kids don't take up much room. And then a tap on the shoulder. His mom was a few rows back in a middle seat. And she asked me to swap seats with her so she could sit next to her son. And he said he politely declined because he paid extra for the aisle seat. The cost of keeping that aisle seat was having to entertain this young boy around 6 years old for a 4-hour flight.
The mom was asking him to help the kid with different things, right?
Well, it's like
flight.
the mom was basically punishing him and saying, well, you're going to have to take care of him because I can't sit up there. That's not fair.
No, it's not fair. I can see it both ways. I mean, if you're a paying customer and you spend hundreds of dollars for a flight and you specifically want the aisle seat and for good reason, I can see why that would be irritating to be expected to move. But as a mom, I can also understand that. I mean, what are you supposed to do if you were not able to get a seat together? They were already booked when you went to go get the flight yourself.
Well, and they're kind of picking on this guy. What about the people on each side of her in that row, one of whom wasn't willing to go up and maybe take the window seat where this kid was sitting and let the kid move back to where she was sitting?
Well, how do you know it wasn't her other two kids? What if she had 3 kids and that was just the other kid?
I didn't think about that. I guess that could have been it.
I don't know. I see it both. I see it both ways.
What's that, Drew?
Said you just got to book early.
Yeah, your audio is very low there. You're right.
Yeah, that's true. You got to book early. I feel like the story I'm about to read you would normally start with a Florida man, but in this case, it's a Missouri man is accused of dancing naked at an Aldi grocery store.
Because why not?
Month.
Wait a minute. If you're nude at Aldi's, where do you hide the quarter that you need to pay for the cart?
Oh, there's places, Mark. Columbia, Missouri. Good old Columbia, Mizzou campus. Not really on the Mizzou campus, but this is where it happened. And this was April 18th. They responded to a report of a naked man dancing in the vestibule of an Aldi store.
The vestibule.
Witness
is that
says
the little area there
multiple,
between the sliding doors and the interior?
I guess.
Is that
it says
the
that
vestibule?
multiple children were present at the store. Adults were trying to hide their children to prevent them from seeing the naked man dancing. And there is surveillance video. He was taking off his clothing and then dancing inside and outside the vestibule.
Was he protesting the fact that they didn't have a gender-neutral bathroom for him to use?
Did they even have a bathroom in Aldi? I don't think
so.
they
I don't
do.
think I've ever seen one.
No, but just so you know, in case you're worried about him showing back up, he's now banned from all Aldi locations.
Yeah, good way to tell your wife, sorry, honey, I can't go to the store today. They won't let me back in.
I guess that's why they call it Aldi.
Oh, my God. Wow, Drew, from the back of the room. Wow. All right. Well, speaking of which, the Patriots coach, Mike Vrabel, said he's had some difficult conversations, I'm sure, with his wife.
Yeah.
After shots emerged of him and the former Atlantic reporter Diana Rossini holding hands at a resort in Arizona. Yeah, you think you've had, he said it's a, he thanked the media for the patience you've shown me in a personal and private matter. Wait, I thought there was nothing to see there.
Yeah, they're just friends.
Yeah, we were just friends. He did not discuss the details of the conversations and said comments shared with the team and questions posted by the team will be kept private. I'll bet. I'll bet. And yet they've kicked people out of the NBA for expressing their opinion about Christianity. What a shame. I'm telling you, that's something else. All right, coming up, we're going to talk to Mark Schmidz, father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, about a new ruling by the Pentagon. We'll be right back.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call my friends at Zero Res. Marc Cox here. It's the perfect time to clean your air ducts as you deal with allergy season. You know, your furnace, your AC efficiency, all of that matters. Your air ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're dirty, your indoor air is going to suffer. Right now, you get a whole system air duct cleaning for just $5.99. Pay less for fresh. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
As parents, we measure our child's life in firsts, first steps, first words. But for me, the most important was my son's first breath. Because of Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, that moment led to so many more. His first laugh, first birthday, the first time he said, "I love you, Mama." Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund. Your gift helps build a place where more childhood firsts are possible.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis Roofing, Siding, and Gutter Systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
We've been here 30 years.
30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The U.S. intercepts another Iran oil tanker. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Far away from the Strait of Hormuz, where the blockade remains in place around Iran's ports, the U.S. military seized the ship in the Indian Ocean. More than 30 vessels in all have been turned away or taken over in the blockade.
President Trump says there is no expiration to the ceasefire, telling our own Martha McCallum on the phone, quote, "There is no time pressure on this, that the 3 to 5 day window reported earlier today is false. The blockade scares them even more than the bombing. They've been bombed for years, but the blockade they hate."
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the White House, and he also details this from the Washington Post.
It could take 6 months to fully clear the Strait of Hormuz of mines deployed by the Iranian military, and any such operation is unlikely to be carried out until the U.S. war with Iran ends.
Now, Iran attacked 3 ships yesterday, took control of 2 of them, further disrupting all shipping in the Strait. There was a vote in the Senate at around 3 o'clock this morning to start the process of funding ICE and Border Patrol to get around a block by Democrats who demand immigration enforcement reform. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Democrats are going to hold Republicans' feet to the fire because the American people demand it. The American people are hurting right now because of the soaring cost of living.
The resolution Republicans approved goes to the House in a reconciliation process that'll lead to a Senate bill to fund ICE and Border Patrol. Money for the rest of Homeland Security was approved last month in the Senate, but not in the House yet. The day after a win for Democrats at the polls in Virginia, a win for Republicans in court blocking a congressional redistricting.
Virginia Circuit Court Judge Jack Hurley ruling Wednesday that all votes for or against the proposed amendment were unconstitutional, citing rules that impose certain requirements that the referendum did not meet. Virginia Attorney General Jay Jones immediately moving to challenge the decision, which also blocks the state from implementing the new districts.
That's Fox's Lillian Wu. America's listening to Fox News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Another gorgeous start to the day. Sunny and 57 degrees now downtown at the Arch. Our time is 7:03. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. The city of Wildwood is now at the center of an officer-involved shooting investigation. Officers were called to the 18,000 block of Wild Horse Farm Court around 8 o'clock last night for a domestic issue. They say when they arrived, there was a man in the front yard of the home with a gun. One of the officers at one point shot him after some sort of an altercation. The man was then taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Thankfully, no one else was hurt. The Missouri House has passed a bill banning men from using women's bathrooms or locker rooms in schools or any organization that gets state funding. A Democratic state representative from Kirkwood claims that under this bill, as a man, he wouldn't be allowed to help his daughter set up her dorm room. This legislation now heads to the Missouri Senate for a vote. Anheuser-Busch is opening up a new technical skills training center at its brewery as part of a $600 million investment. AB plans to work with trade schools here in the area and offer workers advanced training to help them increase their capabilities. The new St. Louis Technical Skills Training Center will be one of about 15 across the country. All of them are expected to be open by the middle of next year. In sports, unfortunately, it was a 4-1 loss for the Cardinals yesterday to wrap up the series with the Marlins. Coming up tomorrow, Cardinals kicking off a 3-game series. That'll be at home against the Mariners. And the NFL draft starts tonight, 7 o'clock. Indiana University's quarterback Fernando Mendoza expected to be the number 1 overall pick. 57 degrees now. We're coming up on 7:05. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Things filling in a bit through the work zone on 55 northbound as you make your way past Bayless on up to about Virginia on the northbound side of 270 off of 55. You're slow going up to 64 where we've got a stall in the right lane. And we've also got a stall on 44 eastbound at the northbound 270 ramp and then 70 westbound before Lindbergh, another stall in the right lane. This report is sponsored by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to toss out that dusty treadmill and your leggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, we're springing forward with our longest price guarantees ever on our gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Trent Erickson at 7:05 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperatures stay above average, but it's a pretty nice Thursday. Sunny. Let's call it a little bit breezy from the south, 83. Tonight, clouds take over. Dry for the evening. Some scattered showers developing after midnight, 65. Friday, clouds with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms around anytime Friday, 78 degrees. It's not a severe weather outbreak, but there could be some heavy downpours of rain. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Sunny, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. Our time is 7:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or from anywhere on our free Odyssey app, but you can also watch the show live every morning. We're on from 5 until 9, Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble with our Window World webcam. Window World, simply the best for less.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show on a Thursday, a few minutes after 7. We're happy you're with us. Kim St. Ange in here along with me. Drew's with us today in for Ethan. We appreciate that. And, of course, Sue Thomas has the day off as well. We're going to get your traffic covered with Trent, so hang on for that. I was reading a few of the comments on the text line this morning, Kim. If you were not with us in that last break, 314-241-9797 is the text line number, and it's anonymous, so people can send things in here. We were talking about something unusual that happened at an Aldi's in Missouri, where a naked man was found dancing in the vestibule.
Wait, you call that unusual?
I love that word, vestibule. And we questioned whether or not there were bathrooms at Aldi's. I can honestly say, as many times as I've been to an Aldi, I've never asked to use the bathroom. One of our listeners claims all Aldis have a restroom. So
I've never seen them.
I'm just saying. That's what they claim. I've never had that need when I was at an Aldi, so I don't know the answer to that.
Well, maybe it's intentional the way they set this up. You can get in and out of Aldi so fast. If you're going to Costco, you're likely going to be there for a while, kind of wandering around the aisles. Well, it's so big, too. But with Aldi, you just are in and out.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's it. But I just thought I would mention a few of the comments from the text line this morning because, of course, we got the "you guys suck" thing right off the bat this morning, which we always appreciate. So, the brutal honesty of anonymity is what I call that. People that would never say that to your face, but they're happy to say it to you over a text or on social media. There you go. How about that? Hey, good stuff this hour. We're going to get to our friend Mark Schmidz, whose son Jared was killed, of course, in Abbey-gate, and he has the Pentagon has come forward and decided to change the way it's doing its Medal of Valor for the 13 service members who were killed at Abbey-gate. And I think, that is something that grabbed my attention when I saw it last night. What they've done basically is agree to upgrade the Valor Awards for Company G and the Marines who held Abbey-gate during Joe Biden's failed Afghanistan withdrawal there. And we've talked at length about what horrible decision-making took place and in how that was handled. And, what happens now? So we reached out to Mark, and we're going to talk to him about that and his organization, the Freedom 13, which is doing such great things for veterans. So let's get to Mark right now. Mark Schmidz joining us right now. Mark, good morning. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I am doing just great. Thank you for agreeing to give us some time this morning. I wanted to get your reaction to this decision by the Pentagon. They went back and they apparently looked at these Medal of Valor decisions regarding the Marines at Abbey-gate, including your son Jared. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's about time. They, for the longest time, they tried to argue that there was no gunfire even taking place, basically just trying to sweep everything under the rug to make it not out to be what it actually was. And there were so many eyewitness accounts of incoming gunfire and outbound gunfire to return that we as the Gold Star families, we stay in touch with a lot of the Marines that were there, and we were just hearing all kinds of stories that the government was trying to cover up during this 3 years after it all happened. And I'm just happy to see that they're finally pulling the veil off and making it known of what actually happened over there, because those guys, they went through some brief moments of hell there and certainly deserve the Valor Awards that they've received. I believe they've issued 7 of them so far.
Wow. Now, was this an upgrade to an award that had already been given, or is this something new?
So my understanding was obviously those injured in those KIA received the Purple Hearts. It's still vague. I don't have all the details yet, but I know that there's a Bronze Star being issued, maybe more than that, or more than one, and then possibly Silver Star as well. But again, this is still all up in the air. They haven't really released everything yet. But bottom line is, though, that the truth of what happened over there is finally starting to come to light, and it's perfect timing too, because there's a lot of moving parts all going on at the same time. Like the one and only terrorist that they've got in custody right now is actually going through trial this week. So he's got trial again today out in Virginia, and they're looking at trying to get him for life in prison for being the lookout and the route planner for the actual bomber that succeeded in doing what he did.
So that's obviously being done in a federal court somewhere. Is it something the Gold Star families have been allowed to attend or invited to attend?
Yes, sir. The DOJ is actually picking up the tab for airfare and hotel for any family member that wanted to come out and be a part of the actual trial. I unfortunately can't afford to miss that much work. Being an entrepreneur, I own my own companies.
Right.
So I had to stay put, but I will definitely attend if he is found guilty for the sentencing phase, where the families are allowed to give their impact statements in determining what his final fate will be. So I'll certainly go out for that. Darren Hoover, a good friend of mine, is also a Gold Star dad, has his son Taylor was one of the 13 killed. He's at the trial, so I'm getting a play-by-play from him the best he can. So keeping me in the loop on what's going on with the trial. And this guy is this terrorist. He's pretty much a pompous ass. He was interviewed in Pakistan for many, many hours, and they have all this recorded. And he just, he's smug about all the things that he participated in that weren't Abbey-gate, and he's claiming that he had nothing to do with Abbey-gate, of course, just to try to save his own hide. But he's clearly very well mixed in with ISIS-K and certainly a pivotal player in that. And he was released. He was one of those that was released when Biden gave up Bagram, so enabling him to do what he did.
Mark, do you feel like you'll ever get closure for what happened, or what would closure look like for you?
Well, this is a start. I've accepted losing Jared, of course, but there is so much accountability or lack thereof through this whole process, and I'm not talking just the terrorists. I'm talking about the promotions given to certain military members that kept their mouth shut. That needs to be looked at. I think it is being looked into. Obviously, there's more bad actors in the Middle East that we're still looking at. I believe there's around 14 of them that we've got our eyeballs on. So I'd like to see some forward momentum with that. But hopefully once this case is done and over, that'll give them some of the ammunition they need to go after the others. So we'll see.
Yeah. Mark Schmidz with us, father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz. Talk to me about the Freedom 13. Every time we talk, you've got a pretty big update to what you're doing out there for vets. And I know you've got a couple of big events and fundraisers coming up.
Yeah, we just had our big gala back in February. We had a goal of $350,000 to raise. We actually raised $918,000.
Wow.
Huge. That's enabling us to break ground on 3 more houses. I'm actually going to the camp today to get a little bit of lawn therapy in.
Yep.
But, we're getting ready to break ground on building 3 houses down there. So pay attention to the socials. I'll be putting out Eagle calls for volunteer help. We do have a huge race coming up, which is really exciting. It's called the Freedom Backyard Ultra Marathon. It's going to be held on June 6th at the camp. If you want to sign up as a runner, this is a last man standing race. So you sign up, you run 4.16 miles on our property. You have an hour to get that done. The sooner you get done, the longer you have to rest, because at the top of the very next hour, you get to do it all over again. So I will not be running. I've got bad knees, but I'll be in the side-by-side picking up the bodies as they drop. But it should be a fantastic outing. It's a rain or shine event. Anybody who's not planning on running can certainly come out. It's free to attend and, cheer on those runners that are out there battling it out. We're going to have a big bell out there like Navy SEALs. So when these guys tap out and can't continue, you got to ring the bell and let everybody know you're done. And then the giveaway is personalized dog tags. So when you tap out, you take your dog tag home as your memento, but the winner will get to go back along the barn. We'll have them all nailed up on the barn wall, and they'll collect all the remaining lanyards with dog tags and drape those over their trophy. Those are all the people they took down to win. So should be a great outing. And, of course, it's a fundraiser. And we did announce our next memorial ride. That's always a big one for everybody. It's going to be August 15th. So just keep a lookout for details on that one.
Yep. All those details on thefreedom13.org. I hope people will turn out and show lots of support there. Mark Schmidz, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Take care of yourself and keep up the great work. All right, coming up, we will get to former Senator Jim Talent. Talk to him about the reconciliation bill the Senate passed last night that did not include the Save America Act. We'll get to all that and more coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
All right, things are slow going if you're headed on the northbound side of 55. This is going to be from before Weber on up to Virginia. Northbound side of 270 fills in between 55. Pockets that go up to 64 on the southbound side from Olive down to 64 on the brakes. 64 eastbound fills in as well. This is from 170 over to Big Bend and westbound from Big Bend to 170 and then again through Chesterfield. And there's a stall here and there, but it's all on the shoulder, nothing taking out a lane and meshes to report. This report is sponsored by the Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Trent Erickson at 718 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Annie, and I'm here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. I know a lot of folks are out shopping now that spring has sprung. How do buyers get the edge?
Come to us, get the bagel loan. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no pizza delivery fees, no appraisal fees, nothing. It's the big bagel, looks like a zero. Take the money that you're saving, put it on top of your bid, beat out everybody else. Tell the seller you can close in 10 days. Sellers want their money. They have to go buy a house. If they know the deal's in the bag and it's done quicker, instead of waiting for other lenders taking weeks to get it done, they're going to take your offer. The power of the pre-approval letter. We give you the ability to generate that pre-approval letter for any amount you want up to the amount you're approved. Now, this is important. If you make an offer and they counteroffer, but your pre-approval letter doesn't cover the amount, you're going to have to chase the loan officer. You may lose the house. This way, you go in, you generate the pre-approval letter, you edit it for the amount you want to counter, put it back in the seller's lap. They have to make a decision.
He's Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. Call 314-324-4440 and MLS number 226715.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No.
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support the Guns N' Hoses First Responders Soccer Cup, May 30th at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. Law enforcement battles firefighters and EMTs on the field, all for a great cause. 971talk.com/events.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
All right, welcome back. We've got former Missouri Senator Jim Talent on the line this morning. Jim, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I wanted to. There's so much going on. Obviously, the Secretary of the Navy got fired, and we got stuff going on, and with the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. But before we get to all of that, I wanted to ask you about this this decision on reconciliation. I assume you've seen this overnight. The Senate voted late last night to fund ICE and the Customs and Border Patrol through the end of the Trump administration, and they passed it without a single Democrat vote, and they sent it over to the House. But what the reason it almost didn't pass is that John Kennedy, thank God for John Kennedy, tried to add an amendment that would put the Save America Act in there, and they voted it down, which was very disappointing to me.
Well, Mark, the problem. I don't want to dive too deep into congressional arcana, okay? But the problem with the reconciliation bill is how much can you jam in and still have the votes to pass it? And it's an unusual situation in this Congress because normally the issue is can you pass it in the Senate? But this time it's can you pass it in the House because the majority there is so small. So this is what they're sending over, the essential things that you want to get done. And then we'll see what the House can do. If the House can add other things, it can still come back to the Senate and be passed. Okay, so they're getting the process going. This is not the end of it, but they're really going to have to work this in the House. Now, I have confidence that they'll get us the best bill they can. They did last year. I really do have confidence in this set of leaders, in Johnson and Thune. So now they go to work in the House. That's essentially the answer.
Could the House add that back in and send it back to them?
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe that's what happens.
Well, so
Yes.
so you think there's a chance that even if they don't add it back in, that the Save America Act could still pass, which to me blows my mind, by the way, that this is so controversial, because all the polls that even the liberal outlets like CNN report showed that it's, what was it, like an 80-20 issue. So most people support this.
Yeah, Kim, what I've said about the SAVE Act is it's fine if people want to get mad, but get mad at the right thing. The right thing here is the filibuster rule in the Senate, which I did not like when I was there, and that was a long time ago, okay? So the issue is, in the typical order, regular order of the Senate, you have to have 60 votes to pass things, because in essence, it's not a majoritarian body anymore. So again, the problem is not that they're not for the SAVE Act. The problem is they're not for changing the rules so they can pass the SAVE Act by a simple majority.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, it does.
And
Yep.
as long as that's in place, they effectively don't have the votes. I mean, it's as if they didn't have a majority, because it's the same working reality.
Yeah.
So that'll be the problem. Now, the issue is, can you add legislation like that into a reconciliation bill? Is that permitted by the Senate rules? And if it's not permitted, will they again, and then this is the same issue, in essence, vote to waive the Senate rules to add it? So that's why I say to people, if you want to get rid of if you want to pass the SAVE Act, you're going to have to at least create an exception to the filibuster rule. Can I add one thing quickly?
Please.
Yeah.
Before the Democrats have announced that they're going to get rid of the filibuster. Now, before they did that, you could make a strong argument that you shouldn't get rid of it, because I want to be fair to people on the other side of this, because you're balancing the risk of good things not happening because of the filibuster rule against the risk of bad things being prevented by the filibuster rule. But since the Democrats have announced they're going to get rid of it,
Right.
I don't see any logic in keeping it, when you have a Republican majority. I mean, I got to confess, I just don't. And so I've been urging, them to at least make exceptions to it for a long time.
I hope they do. I really do. Let me play some breaking news that happened late yesterday. Go ahead and hit it, Drew.
Another breaking story tonight, a shakeup at the Pentagon, another one, the Navy Secretary departing his post. What do we know?
Yeah, the Pentagon spokesman just announced Navy Secretary John Fillon is departing the administration effective immediately, saying, quote, "We wish him well in his future endeavors."
Yeah, that was Fox News last night, Jim. Now, I would pronounce that guy's name Phelan.
It is Phelan.
Yeah, I thought so. Because I worked with Mary Phelan for many years at Channel 4, so I assumed it was pronounced the same. What's your reaction to that? I understand that he had a personal relationship with the president, according to some reporting. Did he step on some toes at the Pentagon?
What happened was the president really wants the maritime industrial base rebuilt and more ships as soon as possible, and the Secretariat, that was the Navy Secretariat, was not producing.
Okay.
And it's like this would not have happened without the president's approval, I guarantee you. And I've actually expected it for some time, because I'm not attacking Secretary Feeling. I'm just saying that I pronounce it Feeling. That's not right either. Secretary Feeling. I'm just saying, to do that job, you have to be extremely decisive. You have to give the Navy career bureaucracy directions, and you have to follow through. And frankly, it was not happening in the Secretariat. So we have a lot of good people in the administration at OMB, on the National Security Council, working for this. I think this was a step that needed to be taken. I really do.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And Mark, look, this is classic. After a year or so in power, administration begins to weed out people. And many of them are good people, but they're just not producing the way the president wants. This president is going to get his agenda done, and he is close to feeling, but it's not going to keep him from moving people out if they're not getting the job done.
Yeah, that's a refreshing look at it. I did not know that. Thank you for that. So quickly, it sounds like somebody suggested yesterday that that the people in Iran know that if they just stall long enough, political pressure gets applied to the White House, and that's how they think they're going to win this thing. Think that works with Trump?
No. And this alternative reality is, in this case, not going to become reality. People will say, there used to be a saying that the Iranians never won a war or lost the negotiations. They're losing this one. The president's putting them in a position where they have two options, Mark. I mean, either they surrender on our dictated terms, essentially,
Yeah.
or they collapse. And we could do a whole interview on how we're using military power, now economic power, and diplomatic tools to corner them into those two options. And there's this, again, alternative reality on the left that somehow they're winning this. I mean, Mark, it is simply beyond me how anybody can believe having your military destroyed and your economy throttled and your leaders killed is winning a war. I mean, normally that's a sign you're losing, isn't it? I mean,
That's how we certainly look at it for sure.
Yeah.
Jim, great analysis. Thank you for your time.
okay, guys.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon. Jim Talent there, former Missouri senator. Good to get his thoughts on that. You had breaking news on the Navy secretary there. I had no idea why he got fired, and Jim just summed it up very, very quickly for you. All right, coming up, we're going to introduce you to some robots like you've never seen before in the next hour. Stay tuned.
Big trucks, big damage. And when you're the one left injured, you need someone who knows how to take on the trucking companies and win. You need Kaufman Townsley. Our attorneys live and work right here in St. Louis. We act fast, we dig deep, and we don't back down. Trucking accidents are serious, and so are we. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, April 23rd here. Sunny and 57 degrees. A gorgeous start here downtown at the Arch. We're coming up on 7:31. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Ferguson leaders are preparing to vote on tax breaks for a proposed massive data center that would be going in at the old Emerson campus. Now, depending on what happens at tonight's city council meeting there in Ferguson, this developer of the data center could get about $1 billion in tax breaks. I should mention officials there in Ferguson already passed the first reading of that plan earlier this week. Police are now investigating a deadly shooting in the Delmar Loop. This happening near the metro station. The shooting happened around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon in the 700 block of Hodemon Avenue. Police do say that shooting happened in the street, not at the metro stop. It is 7:31. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Things are a little slow going through the work zone on 55 northbound from before Weber on up to Virginia. 270 northbound, slow spots that go from 55 up to 64 where we had an earlier stall. They've cleared that. 270 southbound is slow going from Olive down to 64. 170 southbound, Forest Park Parkway down to 64 on the brakes. Eastbound side of 64 through Chesterfield is slow going. And then again from about McKnight over to Big Bend, and the westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend is slow. I'm Trent Erickson at 7:32 on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Hanson's Tree Service out there ready to go to work for you this beautiful weather. You might as well get it taken care of because you know the storms are coming. If they haven't hit you yet, they're coming. What you need to do is get those trees, the limbs that have grown out too far. Maybe you've got a dead tree there in the yard. You've been putting off getting rid of it. Storm comes along, that thing's going to fall, and if it hits a tree, another tree or a car or the side of your house, then you got to deal with the insurance claims afterwards. Don't do any of that. Just get it taken care of now. Chad Hansen has hired some great arborists out there who've forgotten more about trees than I've ever known. They're going to come out and look at your yard. They can tell you ones that are diseased or maybe have pest infestations on them, and they'll get it taken care of. Get it taken care of right now, and then you don't have to worry about it. And you can get mulch. Maybe they can bring the mulch with them when they come over, because you can have it delivered right to your driveway. It's all organic. They make all their own mulch. You can pick online what you want, texture, color, everything, and have it delivered right to your house in most cases. 636-379-1830. They also service Lake of the Ozarks and Branson. Go to hansenstree.com.
Is your driveway cracked or your sidewalk sinking? Buckeye Concrete can fix it. From concrete lifting and leveling to full replacement, they bring over 25 years of experience to every project. Quality concrete work that lasts. Get your free estimate today at BuckeyeConcreteInc.com.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Born in the Midwest, built on common sense. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. We're just waiting for the music crescendo there, so sorry about that. Kim, you have to tell me. So I'm reading one of my live reads earlier for a client, and I was talking about fixing up your backyard, right? And I only know this because people on the text line are apparently listen very closely to the words that come out of my mouth, which is great. That's kind of the point of talk radio. But somebody texted in this morning and said, can Mark say chimney again? He said it earlier, and I almost spit the coffee out of my mouth. It made his pronunciation of folks sound normal.
Yeah, I don't think you say chimney weird.
I didn't. I said chimenea is what I said.
Okay.
I didn't mispronounce the word chimney, although those are basically two things that accomplish the same goal. It's like a fire pit, right?
I never have heard of
you never heard of a
chimenea?
Okay, well, it's just a fire pit, basically.
Why don't you just say fire pit?
I could have, but I was trying to be creative. But clearly, my people on the text line did not appreciate my attempt to deviate from the norm.
It's funny what people will reach out to us about on the text line, because us questioning if Aldi's has a bathroom really has made a lot of you want to reach out to us, which, by the way, I appreciate, because I said I didn't think they had them. I was wrong. Many, many of you say, yes, all Aldi's have restrooms and that they're by the cashier. They're kind of hidden, but
That's
that they have them
says.
and that they double as a shelter if something like if a storm's coming through.
Well, it's good to know.
So thank you to everyone.
I'm having any issues.
If you're trying to buy a chimenea, because they probably sell them there.
Sometimes they sell weird stuff there. Like they have that one aisle where they have these one-off deals that at least they used to.
No, they still do, and it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
so cheap, probably cheaply made too, but they're great. It's all like you can buy shoes at Aldi.
It probably has tariffs from China.
China.
Just saying. It's possible. It is possible. Here's another comment this morning. We're talking about Senator Fetterman. Somebody wrote in, Fetterman is the only person in history to have a stroke and become more sensible, cooler, and smarter.
I don't remember him having a stroke.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
there's
when he
too
was
much-
running for office.
There's too
Remember,
much stuff
he
happening.
He was running for office, and who was it? Was it Dr. Oz he was running against? I'm trying to remember who was running against Pennsylvania, and he was campaigning, and he couldn't finish sentences. Like he would have brain freezes and everything because of
Nope,
the
don't remember
results
that.
of the stroke. And many of us were saying, how in the world could you go out and vote for somebody for a position that important who's clearly struggling to recover from this serious medical condition? Well, lo and behold, after he recovered from it, he had more common sense than he did before. It was amazing. It's been pretty amazing to watch.
Was he really set on wearing basically sweatpants?
Yes.
Before
Yeah, I
that,
think
or
he's
that
only-
also changed?
No, he's always sort of wanted to wear shorts and a hoodie.
March to the beat of his own drum. But don't you think there's something about you should have a level of respect when you're in
They
certain
had that
places?
debate. They had to change the rules of the Senate to allow the guy to wear a hoodie because you're supposed to dress up.
I don't like
to some
that.
extent.
You know, I like Fetterman, and I'm not trying to be a stickler about everything, but they're to me, when you're doing one of those congressional hearings, you just should dress in a suit. You don't have to wear a tuxedo. I don't need you to wear a top hat and a monocle, but I need you to look decent. I don't think you should be showing up in sweatpants.
I agree. Thank you to Kayla this morning who wrote in on Facebook. Kayla, she has a chimenea, and she bought it 10 years ago at Aldi.
No.
Thank you.
The chimenea, no one calls it that. I didn't even hear you say that.
What do you mean no one calls it
No
that?
one calls
It's
it a chimenea. No,
It's
no,
different
it's
than
called a.
it's,
You said it's a fire pit.
It's built differently than a regular fire pit. It's got a cone, kind of comes up to a cone, almost looks like a smokestack at the top. Have you not seen one?
Drew, you can pipe up here.
You've been to deer camp. You've seen the chimenea before,
I
haven't
might
you?
have seen it. I just didn't know what it was called.
Oh,
When I hear
see?
a chimenea, I think of a
You hang
chimichanga.
around with, you hang around with us, and you're going to learn things here, Drew. That's what I'm saying to you. Just Google chimenea, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Need a nice patio in your backyard,
Chimenea.
and you want a
How do
chimenea
you
sitting
spell
out there.
that?
See that? Do you see it?
Okay,
It's a fire pit, but it's a little different
it's like
than
a
your
little
normal
mini fireplace almost.
Yeah, it's almost like a small fireplace.
Okay.
Portable
you know
in
what?
many cases.
I do know what you're talking about, Kayla, because I think my sister got her chimenea from Aldi as
Aldi, I'm
well.
just
I think they
saying,
were like
where you can
$70, and it's a steal.
Dance naked and go to the bathroom if
Oh,
you need
gosh.
to. We've determined this morning.
Well, yep. That's also in the vestibule, which we've now learned Mark loves the word vestibule.
Speaking of chimichangas, and I mentioned this earlier in the show, I think maybe in the 6 o'clock hour this morning. One of our sales account managers here, Glenelle, her son is one of the, he's like the business manager or something for Rosalita's. So we went there yesterday for a business lunch, and we went to the brand new location. It's been open like 6 days in O'Fallon, Missouri. They opened a brand new location out there, and I've never seen anything quite like it in terms of a restaurant. I mean, it looks it looks a lot like the one down at Manchester and 270. The food was outstanding. The service was great. It's huge for you to take parties in there. They've got party rooms set up that you can reserve if you want at this location, and everything in it is pretty much handmade. They've got people in the back with lathes turning wood like for spindles to make the chairs that you sit in at this restaurant. They made every chair. They made every table that you sit on. A lot of the ironworks that are in the restaurant were made by their craftsmen.
This must be a huge location if they have space for a kitchen, the dining space, and an area where they can make all the furniture.
It's massive. Like they apparently they own the building, and there's a Harbor Freight next door. So they finished that out first, and Harbor Freight is open next door to them. And then back behind Harbor Freight, there was extra like warehouse space that they have used, turned it into basically a shop, and that's where they built all the furniture for this restaurant. You
like
got to go by there. I mean, it's something worth seeing. Just whether you enjoy the food or not, but you will because it was delicious.
It's like a Mexican Cracker Barrel. essentially.
I don't know. I mean, it's unique because they've got their own brand, but it's all furniture. They've imported some furniture from Mexico, and they built other furniture that kind of matches that theme.
So it's probably like
decorating theme.
I mean, do they have a glass window where you can go in and see them doing this, or you would have to get a private tour?
You have to get a private tour.
Oh, they should have put like a big window in and let people see it. That would be actually really cool. That would be a dining experience.
Well, I just think it would be, but I just think that mostly they'd be working during the day probably. But I think most people are going to go in there. They're going to have their favorite dish, and they're not going to, unless somebody tells them, they're not going to know what's going on behind the back wall of this restaurant. It was just pretty incredible. Huge kitchen, and yeah. I'm just saying, if you haven't been out there, there's nothing else quite like it that I know of west. And I know they have a location downtown, which was an existing structure. This one they built on their own, and it's beautiful. It
Drew,
really is.
You are getting credit from some people today saying that you have some good zingers today.
He has had some good zingers today.
Had one about Aldi.
We can't repeat all of them, but he's had some good zingers. Yeah, thank you. That's true. Somebody Googled it. See, they're getting on here. The chimney is a specific
I'll
shape.
give you that. There was my ignorance. I didn't know. You're right. It's not a fireplace. I was today years old when I learned that chimenea is a word.
All I was saying was if you call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, they can build a nice patio for you out back for your chimenea. That's all I said.
I love that the person
and
thought
everybody
you said
thought
chimney.
that I mispronounced the word chimney.
You know what? To whoever sent us that text, it's fair that you would think that because Mark does have a lot of things you say that they're weird.
Amy here is saying that Rosalita's tableside guac is amazing. Yeah. It was good. We had some of their queso dip yesterday and got the enchiladas. It was outstanding. Love talking about food at this hour. Makes everybody hungry.
Especially when I can't eat half of it.
That's true. But I thought you said Mexican food was one of those
yeah,
foods
usually.
that you can get away with.
I couldn't have queso, but yeah, that's true. They usually say if you have weird dietary restrictions that yes, Mexican is safer than some others.
Outstanding. Well, try it out. What's coming up on Kim on a Whim?
Well, speaking of dining at restaurants, how often do you go out to a restaurant, you look around, there's a family or a group of friends sitting around the table, and they're not even talking. They're just all staring at their phone. Anywhere you go now, people are just staring at their phone. Well, there's a restaurant now that's offering people a reward if diners are able to lock away their phones for the entire meal.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
And things are getting a bit slow on 270 on your northbound side from 55 on up to 64. Your southbound side now Olive down to 64 on the brakes. You're slow on 70 getting into downtown from about 170 over to 367 on 64 eastbound, heavy through Chesterfield. And then you hit the brakes again from Lindbergh over to Big Bend. And the westbound side slows from just before Kings Highway over to Big Bend. And southbound traveling on 170 getting pretty heavy from Olive on down to 64. I'm Trent Erickson at 746 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878.
All right, Lawn Enforcement is a fantastic company that I want you to consider if you need some help in your yard. Maybe you don't put the lawn treatment down in time like I don't do every year, and the pre-emergent, and then all of a sudden the weeds pop up because I missed it by a week or two because I'm busy doing other things. At Lawn Enforcement, they take care of all of it for you. and they kind of keep everything in order. They do it in order. They do the lawn treatments when they're supposed to be done. They can treat for weeds if that's a problem in the middle of the summer. They're taking care of the mowing and trimming if that's what you need help with at a very reasonable price. Call lawn enforcement and let them upgrade your lawn. They'll take it from good to great because they also do landscape design and they'll implement those designs for you. Maybe you don't know which shrubs are going to work best in your yard. They've been doing this for 30 years. Use their experience and their expertise. They can help you with erosion control and retaining walls if need be. And no project is too big or too small. Maybe you've just got a small area and you want to update or upgrade the landscape rocks that you're using around it. Call them. Let them come out and give you an estimate, and they're going to do great work for you. I can't wait for them to make my yard great again. I'm just telling you, Brandon's already been over there to look at it, and we are working on it right now. Check them out online. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Here's their website, yourlawnenforcement.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative. Kim on a Whim.
Kim on a Whim is proudly brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com.
How sad is it when you walk to a restaurant and you look up and you see a family or friends gathered around the table and no one's even talking to each other? They're just all staring at their phones.
How sad is it when you realize it's your own family? That'd be more sad,
true.
wouldn't it?
It's true.
That would. You should tell everybody, put the phones away. There's nothing more important than being in the moment if you're together with family like that. Maybe even you could argue with family and friends, but everybody does it. You're addicted.
I know.
When I lost my phone the other day, forgot it, I should say, I was lost for the next 4 hours before I could get back to my phone.
And some people would literally be lost because they rely on their phone to get around because no one remembers how to get anywhere. Someone sits there and tells me directions and they're telling me, all right, go south, then go north, then go west. Okay, hang a left here. I'm like, don't bother. Just please tell me the address and I'm plugging it into my phone and that's how I will figure it out. I'm not going to remember it anymore. No one knows numbers anymore. We just rely so heavily on our phones. I think I know like 4 numbers maybe by heart. And usually it's because the person's had the same number for years and years and years. Well, you were talking about how common that is where someone's sitting on their phone. There was a 2023 study that found that 68% of households have a person using their phone during a meal with others. It found that 65% of the respondents don't like it and that 42% feel that using phones during a meal is rude. The irony in all of that is that more than half of the people they talked to said, yeah, it's rude, I don't like it, but so many of them are probably the ones who were on the phone. And it is rude. If I'm sitting around with you and I understand there are things that come up and sometimes you truly do maybe have to respond to a text or maybe answer a call, but that's the exception to the rule. It shouldn't just be the standard protocol of, I'll just whip out my phone and text or I'll scroll social media. That is very inconsiderate to the people who are around you.
I agree with that, and you have to you have to make sure you are conscious of that, right? I mean, some people are it's such a natural part of what they do now, and I've been guilty of it where I'll be sitting there spending time with my mother, and I'll just find myself suddenly grabbing my phone and looking to see if maybe I've missed an important text message or like something that's more important than spending quality time with her. But you have to be conscious of it. And sometimes until you have a conversation like this, I don't know if people think about it. There was a time when you would have been corrected by another adult for doing that, but I think we've moved beyond that now.
Yeah.
People just kind of take it as normal.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of doing that with my kids. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes it takes someone bringing it up to make you feel convicted about it and realize that is bad, that you're just constantly picking up your phone, and it makes the other person you're with feel like they're not important or what they're saying isn't valuable. And I'm sure if my husband's listening to this, dropping off the kids right now, he's probably laughing because he'll get on me about being on my phone. So I have to be very intentional sometimes about putting it away, because otherwise it's such a bad habit. You just want to grab it. And then I'm also that person where I'll look at a text message and I'll forget to respond to somebody, and a day will go by and I'm like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot to respond. So it's just this weird world that we're living in right now with technology. And this is really cool. As if we didn't need another reason to love Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, as far as I know, it's only one location right now, and unfortunately it's not in Missouri or Illinois, but I'm hoping that this becomes a nationwide effort. But there's a Chick-fil-A in Maryland that's offering people a reward if they're willing to ditch their phones, lock away their phones for the whole meal, and I want to try to play a video. They put out some promotional video. Let's see if you guys can hear this.
And today we're going to be reintroducing y'all to the new cell phone coop. Hey, Cow, can we have a cell phone coop? Thank you. Now that we have our cell phone coop, we're going to talk about how it works. First, you and your whole family are going to put your phones inside of the coop, on silent. And then we're going to close it up. And then to make it easier for y'all, we also included some table talk questions on the sides for you guys to answer. And if you guys can leave your phones in the box for the duration.
Whoop. Okay, it just said I reached my daily limit of being on Instagram.
So you've been on your phone a lot this morning.
No. I stop it at 15 minutes. Maybe that's a lot because it's 7:54 in the morning. But no, but so what it's doing is it kind of looks like a Happy Meal box, and so
a coop.
Yeah.
Coop. Yeah.
So you put your phone in here on silent, the center of the table. You lock it up or whatever. You fold it up, and if you're able to keep it away for the entire meal, then you can go up and you can get a free ice cream cone.
So
and I understand that's
on
not
the honor system.
Yeah, it's on the honor system, and I'm not saying it's some huge reward, but still, I mean, it's just a company acknowledging that we need to get back to a time when we weren't so glued to our phones, and they're trying to make it fun. And I bet you that even, let's just say you're at Chick-fil-A, because it's not like it's some sit-down fancy restaurant where you're getting a server there. You're at Chick-fil-A for what, 20 minutes eating your sandwich that you walked up there to get? So if you can't even ditch your phone for 20 minutes, that says something. So I bet you that this is very eye-opening to people when they go and try to do this and realize it's harder than they think.
So you know what I'd do if I owned that restaurant? I would assign an employee, and we'd build the cages on the wall, and you'd have to throw it in there and let the employee monitor it while you were just to keep you honest. Don't you think?
And then what happens if they're not honest?
Well,
shame.
No ice cream for you.
Shame.
No soup for you.
Like a shame walk, like Game of Thrones.
Yes, exactly. No, that wouldn't be good. That's what you get at Aldi's in the vestibule.
Oh, gosh. Go back to the naked. I didn't know that would be such a big story today. The naked man dancing in the Aldi vestibule.
All right. We're going to get to our friend Aaron Mehdizadeh coming up here. He runs.
You nailed it, Mark.
I did it, didn't I? I knew I could do it. He runs the Robot Studio. He rents out robots for your parties, your weddings, your kid's birthday party. It is one of the most incredible things that you've ever seen, and coming soon to a party near you, I'm guessing. We're going to talk to him at about 8:20, and then Griff Jenkins at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with selective land clearing. Whether it's for a building site, pasture reclamation, hunting, or trail creation, Missouri Brush Control can transform your unusable acreage into accessible and productive property. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. 5-star rated on Google reviews. See impressive before and after projects today at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to MissouriBrushControl.com.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No.
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Another Iranian oil tanker seized. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. And like the one the other day, it's far from the Strait of Hormuz, where the U.S. military has a blockade on Iran's ports, turning away more than 30 ships.
The Department of War has released footage showing American troops on the deck of the sanctioned oil tanker Majestic X. It was interdicted in the Indian Ocean between Sri Lanka and Indonesia. Interdiction means the vessel was intercepted on suspicion of being hostile or in violation of the law. The Pentagon says it will continue to act against what it calls illicit networks providing support to Iran.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump just posted on Truth Social minutes ago he's ordered the Navy to shoot and kill any boat putting mines in the Strait of Hormuz. The day after Iran attacked 3 ships, seizing 2 as shipping remains disrupted in the region. There was a vote at the Capitol around 3 o'clock this morning.
Senate Republicans showed the American people where they stand.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer not happy a budget resolution passed, starting a process to fund ICE and Border Patrol that Democrats can no longer block as they demand immigration enforcement reform.
Pumping $140 billion towards rogue agencies.
The blueprint the House has to approve starts a reconciliation process that'll lead to a Senate bill to fund Border Patrol and ICE 3 years. Funding for the rest of Homeland Security was approved last month in the Senate, but not in the House yet. There's a change involving cannabis. It's not being legalized federally, but there's a reclassification this morning.
Medical marijuana gets shifted into a less dangerous category by the government. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche signing an order reclassifying state-licensed medical marijuana, shifting it from Schedule 1, which is reserved for drugs without medical use and with high potential for abuse, to the less strictly regulated Schedule 3.
Fox's Lillian Wu will win in court for Republicans in Virginia the day after voters approved congressional redistricting to help Democrats. A judge blocks it. America's listening to Fox News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Another beautiful day ahead of us. Heck, it's already beautiful right now. Sunny, 57 degrees if you're just leaving the house at 8:03. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. The city of Wildwood is now at the center of an officer-involved shooting investigation. Officers were called to the 18,000 block of Wild Horse Farm Court around 8 o'clock last night for what started as a domestic issue. They say a man, when they arrived, was in the front yard of that home with a gun. One of the officers shot him after some sort of an altercation. The man was then taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Thankfully, no one else was hurt. The Missouri House has passed a bill banning men from using the women's bathroom or locker room in schools or any organization that gets state funding. A Democratic state representative from Kirkwood claims under this bill, as a man, he wouldn't be allowed to help his daughter set up her dorm room. This legislation now heads to the Missouri Senate for a vote. Anheuser-Busch is opening up a new technical skills training center at its brewery as part of a $600 million investment. AB plans to work with trade schools here in the area and offer workers advanced training to help them increase their capabilities. The new St. Louis Technical Skills Training Center will be one of about 15 across the country. All are set to open by the middle of next year. All right, in sports, unfortunately, it was a 4-1 loss for the Cardinals to wrap up the series yesterday with the Marlins. Coming up tomorrow, Cardinals kicking off a 3-game series. That'll be at home against the Mariners. Tonight, NFL draft starts 7 o'clock. Indiana University's quarterback Fernando Mendoza expected to be the #1 overall pick, headed to Vegas. 57 degrees now, just before 8:05. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Oh, you're going to find things a little slow on 55 if you're headed northbound. It's the work zone that's got you from Weber on up to Virginia. We've got the 64 eastbound slow through Chesterfield, and then 270 spots over to Big Bend, westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend. Southbound 170 getting better, but still heavy from Forest Park Parkway down to 64. And then you've got 270 northbound delays from 55 up to 64, but southbound is cleared up. I'm Trent Erickson at 8:05 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our temperatures stay above average, but it's a pretty nice Thursday. Sunny, let's call it a little bit breezy from the south, 83. Tonight, clouds take over, dry for the evening, some scattered showers developing after midnight, 65. Friday, clouds with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms around anytime Friday, 78 degrees. It's not a severe weather outbreak, but there could be some heavy downpours of rain. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
We're at 57 degrees now, sunny here downtown. It is 8:06. You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. Listen to the show anytime. Very simple. All you have to do is download our free Odyssey app.
Triton Exteriors. We take care of your home. It's that simple. Triton-STL.com. Home improvement projects can come with a lot of headaches. We save you time by offering packaged services that are easy to understand and based on your needs. We take care of the details so you don't have to. Visit us at Triton-STL.com. That's Triton-STL.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. RetirementKey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Good morning to you. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show. Just entertaining ourselves down here this morning, looking out the window into a homeless park here across from the library. There is a dude doing marching in place and turning around in circles down here. I'm not sure what he's up to.
I highly doubt he's done drugs.
They need to get one of these social workers that they've taken part of the police salaries to pay for and send them down here, I think. Could be an emergency.
I think this is a typical Thursday. I don't know that I'd classify this as an emergency.
No, I think you were absolutely right. And to answer our friend Jackie earlier, who heard my comments about the new Rosalitas out in O'Fallon, she wanted to know if I was advertising for them. No, I'm not. I just went there yesterday, and I thought it was such a great experience, I would share it. And somebody else asked Mama Kay if they're selling this furniture that they made all the furniture for this restaurant. They've got a shop set up in the back of the building. And it's incredible. The workmanship's incredible, and she wanted to know if she could buy some of it. Nope, that's not the business they're in. They're not in the furniture-making business. They only make it for themselves. So I think they could if they wanted to, but they were like a real estate development company, and that's not really what they're into. So
that's really cool. Would people know that, though? If
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't know
I still
how
vouch. You should put a glass. I know it's too late to do it now. You should put a glass window so people can see you making it. It's like the ice cream shops where you can see everyone mixing everything. People love that stuff, a behind the scenes look.
Yeah, they used to do that at Shakey's Pizza years ago. You could see him making the pizza. Drew's now getting video of the guy out the window here. If he takes his clothes off and goes to an Aldi's, please let me know.
He's jumping in place now.
Oh, that happened
Maybe
in
he's
Missouri,
just doing
the Aldi
calisthenics.
guy.
Maybe that's it.
He has his clothes on, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he does. Yes, he does. All right, we still got plenty to get to this morning. Griff Jenkins, bottom of the hour. We'll find out what Griff's got going on. And Aaron Mehdizadeh. Did I do it right?
Yeah.
Aaron Mehdizadeh. I'm going to get the last name right before I get him on the air. We're going to have him on next.
Drew and I were joking. Would Mark butcher the name?
That's not an easy name to pronounce.
No, it's
Thank
not.
you.
He said it to me about 10 times yesterday, and I had to write it down phonetically because it's very difficult.
Me too. And he is more importantly, the founder of the Robot Studio, and the video of this is just incredible. It really is. You could soon have a robot entertaining your children at their birthday party.
Or your wedding.
Or
your
wedding.
Event. You could hire him as a keynote speaker.
Sure. And apparently they're used to. I remember the days when they would bring something like that to an event, and off in the background somewhere there was somebody with a radio who was actually the voice of the robot. That's what you were hearing. That's not the case here. This is the real deal. It responds. It can learn dance moves from you. If you're dancing across from it, it would not want to learn any from me, trust me. But I'm just saying it could, and it looks pretty cool. We're going to talk to him about that coming up here in the next segment. I promise you that. All right, Drew, let's go ahead and get to our top stories this morning, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
Kash Patel must resign immediately.
Yeah, well, that's what Chucky Schumer thinks while he's grilling raw meat and trying to serve it to you with cheese on it. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's mad at Kash Patel. That's not going to happen. And in the middle of the night last night, the Senate, without a single Democrat vote and -2 Republican votes, Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski, passed complete funding for ICE and Customs and Border Patrol. Way to go.
I just read that this war is estimated to have already cost us $50 billion.
Wow. Sunny Hostin suddenly worried about too much spending. Where was she during COVID and all of the money that Joe Biden wasted sending to his fellow Democrat mayors around the country to waste? Where was she then? I don't know. Now she's on The View.
We hear a lot of talk from the Europeans. Unfortunately, we don't see enough action.
Yeah, I agree. And just a few minutes ago, by the way, she held another news conference, Caroline Leavitt, outside of the White House, talking about the strait and talking about what they're doing right now on the with the ceasefire, the word I was looking for there. Sorry. Talking about the fact that it's going to go on indefinitely. They're going to give Iran a little bit of time here because all of their leaders were killed, and they're still not sure that they can get an agreement on any sort of a long-term peace deal until they can piece them all together.
He dismantled USAID, severing lifelines of food and medical aid around the world, and leading to a catastrophic death toll around the world.
Did you realize that the Doge efforts to save money? That's Rosa DeLauro. Remember her? She's the Democratic Congresswoman who looks like she came out of a wax museum somewhere. She's got purple hair, and like she really is just kind of hard to watch when she's on. But she spent time yesterday at a hearing criticizing Donald Trump for all of the waste and abuse that they stopped with USAID. And now we know the truth, right? We know why the Democrats were really opposed to cutting USAID, because we know that money that was being sent overseas in many cases was flowing back to the United States to act blue coffers in many cases through various different NGOs. They were basically cleansing this money and shipping it back to the U.S. To these NGOs.
Is that not considered money laundering?
Well, it's
a
the
form of
definition
money laundering. So
I'm waiting for it to be prosecuted. I don't know why it hasn't been prosecuted. Because I've seen flow charts where they've tracked this money to this NGO, right? Mm-hmm. So then the money's technically out of the government's hands, because to pull a Kamala Harris on you, NGO, it's 3 letters. It stands for non-governmental organization, which means there's no government oversight, which means the millions, or in some cases billions of dollars, went to these NGOs run by who knows what kind of left-wing wackos, who sent part of it to another NGO, who took a little bit of it and sent that to another NGO, who then took it and sent it to, like, the Clinton Foundation or some other left-wing activist organization. They were using USAID to basically money launder money to liberal organizations around the world. And what did it get spent on? I don't know, teaching people about AIDS in Africa or LGBTQ issues in South America, things the American taxpayers have no business funding. But if you listen to Rosa DeLauro in her warped view of the world, because she really hates Donald Trump, she saw USAID as some sort of foreign policy boon, claims that people not having the money is killing them, and that we're giving up influence to our enemies. Here's why she hates Donald Trump, in case you're wondering.
My view, abdication of American global leadership. It cuts humanitarian assistance. It slashes global health programs. It reneges on our commitments to our partners. And it surrenders our global influence to our adversaries. Since he took office, President Trump has stumbled from one self-created international crisis to another. He dismantled much of our foreign policy and development infrastructure, leaving partners scrambling and our diplomats already stretched too thin, struggling to explain why the United States would abandon its commitments.
Yeah, what he's doing there, Congresswoman DeLauro, is exactly what I voted for. It's exactly what most of us voted for. And now we can redirect that money for Americans. How about that? That would be fantastic.
Well, whatever happened, by the way, to Doge? I hope maybe we can ask Griff that when we have him on this morning at about 8:35, because for so long we heard Doge, 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 and they were the ones who were really uncovering a lot of the ridiculous stuff that our tax dollars were paying for in other countries. And now it's just gone completely silent. Is it still around since Elon Musk is no longer heading it up, but they're just kind of doing things quietly behind the scenes? Or did it completely dismantle and the Trump administration is opted to not really draw attention to that?
The bigger question is what happened to Big Balls? That was the guy's nickname who was part of it, right?
Yes.
So maybe that's how we ask the question to Griff. I'm sure he'll immediately have an answer.
Phrase
it
just like that.
I will ask him when we get him on here at about 8:35. Next, we're going to tell you about this robot studio, and I can't wait for you to hear this. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
And things are still pretty heavy in a couple spots, like 64 headed on your eastbound side. You're slow going through Chesterfield, and you got a 270 on over to Big Bend. Your westbound side, Kings Highway, very heavy over to Big Bend with a crash working in a right lane. Southbound side of 170, really heavy going approaching Olive because of a crash in a lane, and then heavy again approaching 64. Northbound side, you've got Gapers delays headed past Olive. 270 on your northbound side. Pockets of delays now from Gravois on up to 64. This report is sponsored by Barron Baron Mirror Glass and Door. Baron Mirror Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs located in the Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Trent Erickson at 817 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Does heart disease run in your family? Give yourself peace of mind with our cardiac MRI bundles at Specialty MRI. Personalized scans designed to give you clear, meaningful answers. No long waiting rooms. Scan today for a peace of mind tomorrow. Call us at 636-591-1288. That's 636-591-1288.
Mrs. Weiland, why don't you go ahead and read the top line for me?
I should.
Next line.
Get my retirement. What's that?
Checked, Mrs. Weiland. Get your retirement checked.
Planning retirement on your own doesn't pass the eye test. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost at Ricken Financial can help bring your retirement into focus. Call 314-207-6211. Ricken Financial, making sure your retirement vision is 2020.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and zero res. Marc Cox here. Buy one room of carpet, get one clean for free, unlimited rooms, and whole system duct cleaning for just $5.99. Visit ZeroResSTL.com.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
If you or someone you know suffered any injuries involving a deployed airbag, you could be entitled to compensation. Morgan & Morgan has already recovered millions. Get America's largest injury law firm fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is St. Louis conservative.
Remember when kids' birthday parties were simple and you could just like go to the Chuck E. Cheese and the robots you saw would scare you to death up on the stage dancing around?
They really would. Oh, yeah.
Boy, they've come a long way from those mechanized robots that they used to have up on stage to ones that there's now a business where they will deliver robots to your party, your bar mitzvah, your wedding, whatever it is you're having, for strictly for your entertainment. And it's pretty incredible to see the video on this. You have a clip of it, Kim, that we could play?
Yep, because this company based out of Dallas is really taking off. So here was a story that was just done on it.
Dance, tell jokes, and even...
What splendid questions shall we prepare for?
Gave us interviews. Do you enjoy entertaining at parties?
Indeed I do, sir. Nothing delights me more than regaling guests with witty tales, elegant parlor tricks, or a perfectly timed riddle.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's introduce Aaron Mehdizadeh, who is the founder of the Robot Studio. Aaron, welcome in. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Kim and I both got a huge kick out of this video when we saw this story because I saw the video the other day of the robot running the race against humans, and I'm like, this is at a whole new level.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we were actually involved in the National Robotics League where they had a little race this past Sunday. So we're taking part in that as well.
It's pretty amazing. So tell me, it's been so long since I've looked into that. I know we had somebody on a couple years ago, I think, talking about where this was going to go. It appears it has arrived. What is your company doing, and where are you currently offering this service?
Sure. So we're offering nationwide robot rentals. Sometimes not even just in America. We had an event in Mexico. We had an event yesterday in Toronto. So we're doing it all over the place. And right now we're at a point where robots are really great. They're entertaining. They're able to do all kinds of dances and take on all kinds of personalities. They haven't yet got to a point where they're going to be able to do anything that's really practical, but we're sort of getting ahead of the ball there, and we want to be part of that wave. So that's why we started this.
What are some of the coolest things your robots can do if someone were to, say, hire them for a wedding or a birthday party?
Sure. So if somebody was having a wedding and suppose they were having some dancers doing like some kind of pre-choreographed dance, I mean, we can actually go and teach several robots to do the same dance and then have them all dancing together. So it's not easy, but it's doable, and you just need to essentially be training these robots in simulation to do a certain dance like 75,000 times, and then once it comes into real life, they nail it on the first try.
Wow, that's amazing. I saw one of the videos where there were kids, clearly a birthday party of some sort, kids dancing in front of the robot, and the kid started stomping his feet, and the robot reacted. So they can interact like that with the crowd?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. And it can. I saw a video of the robots can shake hands. Did I see another one was giving a keynote speech? You can hire them to make a speech?
Absolutely. And we have a lot of companies are doing that because they are coming to these different corporate events and they want to show that they're future oriented, that they're on the AI wave, and what better way to do that than to have a humanoid robot at your company event?
That's amazing. All right, so now to the nitty-gritty portion of this. I would imagine if unless you happen to have a physical location here in the greater St. Louis area, you have to fly these robots in. This is probably not where's the price level? Is what I'm asking.
Right. So our events run anywhere from as low as like $1,000, but typically that's like more local events in the DFW area.
Okay.
Up to a couple thousand, depending on where the event is, which robot they're renting, and what their needs are, and what kind of custom programming is required.
So, do you have to pay for a seat for the robot on the plane? Does the robot get a checked bag?
We actually tried to one time get a robot on a plane. We bought the robot a seat, and there's a viral video of one of our robots named Benji walking through DFW airport, but unfortunately he didn't make it on the plane.
They stopped him at where TSA or at the gate.
They probably should have stopped him at TSA, but we made it to the gate.
Wow.
So like, let's just say you have an event in England or something like that. Can you teach the robot to actually, this was a question my husband really wanted to know when I told him about this. Could you teach the robot to have an accent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if you're going somewhere in the South,
ask him something hard.
My husband really wanted to know that. Can you train him eventually to do flips and stuff? Like, is that all in the works? Because this is probably just the tip of the iceberg with where we're at with AI and robotics. These humanoid robots. Every time I open the internet, there's a new video of a robot doing some cool tricks. Like, what's the goal? What's the end goal here?
We could show them. So I'll tell you. So hey, we could show them to do any of these like parkour tricks or flips. The only thing is, once you start doing that, you better have a lot of robots because they're going to start breaking, and then it's not ideal. And anyways, for safety purposes, that isn't necessarily what you want at the next, corporate event or bar mitzvah. But in terms of what you asked, for the future, so the way we see ourselves is we want to be the middleman between the robotics manufacturers and deployment in commercial settings. So entertainment is phase one, but essentially, let's say somebody wants a robot to be doing customer service at their store. Let's say it's a CVS or something like that, where you come in and you ask the robot questions and they tell you where to find XYZ. So there's a level of so A, you need the robot, and then B, there's a level of programming that's required for each specific use case.
Wow.
So we are building up the expertise to be the one to provide you with the robot, recommend you which robot's best for your needs, and then do the custom programming and maintenance for the client.
That is really cool. It's called the Robot Studio. Aaron Mehdizadeh, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Fascinating stuff, man. I tell you what. So, going to be a little pricey here at first, but eventually that price is going to come down.
Mm-hmm.
So coming soon to a wedding near you, you're going to see one of these.
Our company needs to up its game, hire a robot.
Thank you. Well, hey, wait, don't say that.
You voted, we listened. On Friday, April 24th, the Cardinals take on the Seattle Mariners, and Busch Stadium is going dark. That night, you will receive the all-new Cardinals jersey, Dark Mode, presented by Phillips 66. This fan-selected look was brought to life for the ballpark and designed to stand out in the stands. A limited giveaway you can only get at the game. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Victor Scott II. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. President Trump on Truth Social said he has ordered the U.S. Navy to, quote, shoot and kill any boat that is laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices are moderately higher as a result. West Texas Intermediate currently at roughly $93 per barrel, Brent at nearly 102. Prediction market platform Kalshi said it has suspended and fined 3 candidates for Congress from Minnesota, Texas, and Virginia for political insider trading activity on their own campaigns. Kalshi said that all 3 candidates, who each were suspended for 5 years, were flagged because of the platform's newly released safeguards. ServiceNow beat Wall Street's first quarter earnings expectations and upped its fiscal year guidance. The enterprise software company said conflict in the Middle East weighed on subscription revenue growth. The company has made a flurry of deals as it aims to position itself as an AI control tower. Futures are still slightly lower as the Middle East conflict remains top of mind. On Wednesday, the Dow Industrials gained 340. That's Your Money Now.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FAME25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FAME25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FAME25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
But big problems on 170 if you're headed southbound from St. Charles Rock Road. It is just jammed down to past Page or before Olive, where all lanes are blocked with a vehicle fire. You're going to want to slide off at St. Charles Rock Road. If you can do it, please do, and then use Hanley and make your way down. You can rejoin at Olive headed southbound if you need to. Northbound side of 170 slow off of 64 up to Forest Park Parkway, and then you get a Capers delay headed past Olive from there. 270 northbound still slow going from about 44 up to just past 64, and 64 eastbound from Lindbergh on over to Big Bend or just past Big Bend, almost to Kings Highway is pretty jammed up with an earlier crash clearing. A westbound side from Kings Highway over to 170 is on the brakes. I'm Trent Erickson at 8:33 on 97.1 FM Talk.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
Let's talk about your foundation for just a minute. It's so many different things, anything that is concrete in and around your home. So the walls of your basement, the floor of your basement, the driveway, the floor of your garage, all of that qualifies. Your front porch, it's all part of the foundation that makes up your house. Home Shield Foundation Repairs can take care of all of it. If you're having a foundation problem of any sort, call Home Shield Foundation Repairs at 314-271-9900. My friend Matt Hayes runs the company. He's the foundation guy. He understands it. He knows how to fix it. If there's a problem, he can come over and look at it and tell you what you need to do to make it right. And he's going to be honest with you because he owns the company. He's not there to beat you up. He's not a salesperson. He's not trying to sell you something you don't need. He'll tell you what the fix is for your driveway, what the fix is for your front porch. He can fix those. He can also go down and waterproof your basement. If you've got a small problem or a major problem, they'll get it taken care of, and you can trust what he's telling you. 314-271-9900 is the phone number. Be sure and mention my name when you call. Tell them Marc Cox sent you, or go online to homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
From St. Peter's to Smithton, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
All right, this just happened. So before we get to the one and only Griff Jenkins, I wanted to break this news. President Trump has just used the power of his pen to reclassify medical marijuana as a less dangerous drug in what's being described as a historic shift. And I guess we're going to have to dig into this and figure out what it means. But the order signed by Todd Blanche does not legalize marijuana for medical use, but it does change the way it's regulated and shifting it, medical marijuana, from Schedule 1 to the less strictly regulated Schedule 3. I don't know what that means for filling out a gun form or any of that, but I just wanted you to know that that is some of the news breaking out of D.C. Let's get to Griff, please.
In Kyiv, Ukraine, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. Along the southern border, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. At the White House, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. In St. Louis, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
Tell me where in the world is
Griff Jenkins. All right, Griff, good morning to you, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Yeah, how about that news coming out? Didn't see that coming.
Well, you know, I'm one of those people. Anybody that's listened to my show for the long period of time, I was opposed to the legalization of recreational marijuana to begin with. But now that the majority of states have legalized it, it seems like, my argument is they're going to have to change the federal laws because it's impacting these companies, legal companies' abilities to put money in a federally insured bank. I mean, it's affecting so many different things. I felt like something like this needed to happen.
Yeah. So, listen, you know, you would be served better with like an actual attorney, maybe that can sort of help break this down.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because when I was driving back here just 20 minutes ago from SoulCycle, I was doing SoulCycle at a studio in Virginia, listening to news radio as the news was breaking, and they had some sort of, Virginia legal guy on saying that, you know, first of all, everyone needs to quickly understand that this is not legalizing marijuana at the federal level, and that this order is intended to strengthen medical marijuana research while maintaining federal level controls, but does empower the state licenses that have been working with this, dealing with this, and to your point exactly, Mark, trying to navigate what seems like kind of a disconnect from state laws passed and existing federal rules. And so we'll see, when the White House starts getting out there and talking more about what this does and does not mean. I just think that, you know, as we sort of all start digesting it, realize that what it does not mean as opposed to what it does do is probably going to be just as important.
That's a great point, and I'm sure we'll get more details as we move along. So it would take an act of Congress to change the Marijuana Act and make it less or remove the illegality of it, I guess. I mean, I always look at that form you have to fill out if you buy a firearm, and it asks you if you use illegal drugs, including marijuana. I mean, it asks you that right on there. So which is what, of course, got Hunter Biden in so much trouble. And I'm thinking to myself, that so many people are either on medical marijuana or they're using recreational marijuana. They're having to lie on a federal form if they go to buy a firearm.
It's a great point. Excuse me. And I think that the move here, as you see the White House putting their press release out, it's actually the DOJ release.
Right.
They really lean into medical marijuana research, which is going to be the purpose. And it's interesting because if you remember, just last weekend during the Fox and Friends weekend, as we're hosting, President Trump held that big Oval Office executive order signing where he was making it more accessible to get psychedelic drugs, like Ibogaine for the wounded veterans that are dealing with TBI and PTSD and depression. And we had Joe Rogan there, and of course Rob O'Neill and some others. But this is not attached to that. I want to be clear what I'm saying here, but it does show another chapter of this administration really came in and was willing to challenge the conventional, longstanding wisdoms on some of these things. And, with the case of the psychedelics, much like what they're saying, I think with medical marijuana, not just for veterans, but across the board, they're saying, wait a minute, if research shows this actually helps, despite what we think we know, then let's look harder at it. And with this moving marijuana from the Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, that is, it appears, the path, the vehicle, the open door, if you will, that should allow researchers to do that.
No conversation on this show about this subject is ever complete without a Fast Times at Ridgemont High reference. Hang on just a
Why don't you get a job, Spicoli?
What for?
You need money.
All I need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and I'm fine.
The great Jeff Spicoli with maybe the greatest movie ever made.
Thank you.
I've never seen it. I know I've heard of it, but yeah, I get made fun of a lot, Griff, for the fact that I have not seen a lot of the classic movies.
You need, Kim, to stop what you're doing. There is no pressing event in your life as soon as you get off the air on this radio show to sit down and watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I'm going to call out of work tomorrow and say I was told by Griff that there was nothing more important than seeing this movie.
Yes, I will stand by that. Indeed. I didn't know whether you were going to give me the Spicoli, Tasty Waves, Cool Buzz, or the Phoebe Cates pool scene.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's not the audio's not as good on that one. That's a visual.
But, it's actually, quickly before we run out of time, it's a great point, which is, the as we go down the path of however marijuana is getting legalized and all this other stuff, I'm still not convinced that a bunch of Americans roaming around stoned everywhere, God forbid, driving around their cars, is a good thing.
I'm with you.
Let's not forget that.
I'm with you 100% on that one for sure. And on a side note, I've always hated Kevin Kline for that fact that he married Phoebe Cates. Can I just say that?
Yeah, that's right.
I've always held that against him. So Griff, besides that, what else what they get you covering today?
Well, it's going to be, I'm headed up to New York, and we're going to do the Saturday show, Fox Friends Weekend up there, but then we're going to jump back down here to D.C. for the Nerd Prom. That White House Correspondents' Dinner has been a big thing, and I've been many times, and I'm fortunate to get to go many times, I suppose. They call it the Nerd Prom because it's all the ugly politicians and journalists here at D.C. But for the first time, President Trump is going to come, so it's going to be interesting to have him there for the first time just in and of itself, and to have him there as we are actively in a war in Iran. Just moments ago, you saw the president giving the order to shoot and kill on sight with what's left of Iran's Mosquito Navy, which are these little boats. But, he's going to appear at dinner during an active war. Who knows where we'll be by this weekend?
It's a good point. And, yeah, didn't I see where like 250 journalists signed a letter, Dan Rather and others, encouraging people to let the president know they were unhappy with him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
You wear a shirt? What do you do? Hold up a sign?
I have no idea, but I'm here for that. I will confess in recent years as I get older and prefer the early to bed schedule rather than the stay up late, go to soiree lifestyle. I have been accused of wanting to find an excuse not to go to this fancy dinner, but this year I'm here for it.
You're not going to miss it.
I'm interested to see what happens. And the Mentalist, I believe, Oz is going to be there too, so that'll be kind of cool to see as well.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Well, we'll look for a full report next week, and on.
Well, the best part of it is if you happen to wake up on Sunday morning, you will get to watch me anchor with 2 hours of sleep, which will be really funny.
Yikes!
We will
That'll
do
be good
that.
though.
I'll be watching, Griff. Thank you, my friend. Have fun.
Hey guys. Have a great weekend, and Kim, go watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. For God's sake, you'll thank me and Mark later.
I'll tell you next week. I haven't watched it. You can tell me again.
All right, sounds good.
See you, Griff. Get a job, Spicoli.
It's a comedy, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
It's sort of it's a coming of age movie during a time when most of us who love it the most were coming of age. So it was just a great slice of 1980s life that they encapsulated in that movie. Everybody knew the Jeff Spicoli in their high school who was stoned all the time, and he's ordering pizza delivered to class, and he has a conflict with his very rigid teacher, Mr. Hond, and it's just great. Beautiful girls and going to the mall and hanging out at the movie theater.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just sort of encapsulates all of that in a ridiculous way.
All
It's
right.
just it's kind of fun. A fun movie there. Movie review 47 years late. How about that? All right, quick break here. We'll be back in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, all lanes are still blocked on 170 southbound, where things are jammed solid from 70 on down to just before Oliver past Page. And that's because of a vehicle fire from earlier. They're working on it, but not just yet. You want to slide off as soon as you can on, you make your way over on Hanley, head south on Hanley from St. Charles Rock Road at the very least, if not Natural Bridge, and head south from there. And then you can rejoin at Olive to get your southbound travel going. Northbound side is still going off of 64 and 64 eastbound still have this crash at Kings Highway, so eastbound's jammed from Lindbergh over to just past Kings Highway. I'm Trent Erickson at 848 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Pump up the volume. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Well, yesterday I got to sit down with my friend Curtis Carell and talk a little bit about his business. Of course, he runs Carell Roofing Company. He's talking to me about getting up on a lot of roofs and looking for hail damage and damage to your roof. In fact, he said if you haven't had an inspection on your roof in the last few years, this is the prime time to get that done because, we had the last major hailstorm was last May, but even a week ago, I think on that last Friday, there was some 1-inch hail reported in the Chesterfield area. So if you have not had your roof looked at, you want to call Curtis and just let him crawl up and give you a roof inspection. It's something you need to get done anyway before it causes a problem, a leak. He might spot a problem that you didn't even know you had, and then you've got that taken care of. Consider it spring maintenance along with getting the yard ready. These are the kinds of things homeowners need to think of. And then Curtis is really good at working with these insurance adjusters. He's gotten to know a lot of them, and he'll crawl up on the roof with them and show them places where he's found damage. He knows what's required if you've got to file a claim. And he told me yesterday, listen, tell people if you've had somebody else, maybe some out-of-town group, try to do this, your insurance company turned them down, let me take a run at it because, honestly, if you deserve a new roof, I'm going to fight for you to get that. So call him at 314-222-9529. You're going to love working with Curtis. Great guy, military vet, great father. You're going to love him. 314-222-9529, or just go to his website. Tell him Mark sent you at CorellRoofingCo.com.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
Short answer is no. Certainly, Virginia, by constitutional amendment, has a new redistricting effort that was put in place and first utilized after in the 2021 redistricting. Certainly, I've been watching with interest what other states are doing, but I have no plans to redistrict Virginia.
Chicken crap.
Yep. That was Abigail Spanberger, the Virginia governor, when she was candidate Spanberger, promising into the cameras that she would not redistrict, and it's the first thing she did. This is one of the most historic political flip-flops in history. Ran as a moderate Democrat in that state and turned hard left the minute she got sworn in. Passing bills on banning guns. Like if you live in Missouri, the sound of my voice, and you've got a semi-automatic handgun, there's a good chance it's now illegal in the state of Virginia. That's the kind of crap they're doing out there. And it's outrageous because, once again, they blame innocent law-abiding gun owners for the gun problem. This is where we are. Had to play that for you because, you just have to remember who these people are and what they've said in the past. And video doesn't lie. The audio stays around forever. The internet is forever. All right, Kim, something we haven't talked a lot about because it's not in our state, but in California they have a governor's race going on. Obviously, Eric Swalwell, things are not going well for Eric Swalwell. He's out of Congress. He's out of the race. They had another candidate just drop out of the race. There are still five candidates in the primary, including Steve Hilton, who identifies as a Republican in California, and then Katie Porter, who is that crazy left-wing congresswoman who's well known for her violent temper with her staff lived in fear of working with her, apparently, and you may have seen the video by now. And there's a guy named Tom Steyer, who's a hard left progressive who's now hoping to pick up the momentum now that Swalwell's out of the race. I don't think Katie Porter's got a chance, but the top two people in this primary, in this runoff, will then go on to face each other. So it could be Tom Steyer and either Katie Porter or Steve Hilton versus Katie Porter or Tom Steyer, assuming Hilton gets enough votes to come in first or second. They had a debate last night. And the question that they asked to Katie Porter was it was fantastic. Like, I want more reporters to ask questions like this. Listen to this.
Ms. Porter, you've acknowledged that your interactions with an aide and with a reporter captured on videos which went viral were, in your words, a bad look, and that you could have done better.
Now, that's a good way to start the question. It's how he ended it that I loved, because I don't know what politician would have been prepared to answer this.
What have you done to address those concerns? And as a person who frequently speaks about being a parent on the campaign trail, what would you tell your own kids if they ever faced a boss like that? You have 60 seconds.
I apologized that day to that staffer 4 years ago.
Why does this keep coming up? I apologize to that staffer that day 4 years ago. Like, there are multiple videos of her chewing people's rear ends for things. So that wasn't a one-off, is the point. But she wanted everybody to know, like, she immediately ignored the question about her kids and went back to apologizing for that, right? And then there's this Tom Steyer guy. This is how far left he is. They ask him a question about truck drivers in California getting these CDLs and being unable to speak English. And he tried to turn it into a racism issue. Listen.
Mr. Steyer, where do you draw the line on this? Should language proficiency for truckers be strictly enforced, even if it means that some of them will probably lose their jobs? You have 60 seconds.
Look, I agree with what was said, which is we don't know the context of this stop.
Yes, we do.
But what I can say is this: racial profiling is illegal. And in fact, picking on people based on the color of their skin in the state of California.
No.
Illegal.
That's not the question, Tom Steyer. The guy got pulled over and couldn't speak a word of English.
Well, I wish the reporter would have said, "That's not the question, sir. Answer my question."
Yeah, they didn't follow up like that. Like, he's trying to turn they must have been racially profiling. No, you can't have truck drivers in this country who, number one, are illegal, and number two, can't read the road signs. We've seen far too many fatal accidents are the result of that problem right there. And that guy wants to be the governor, the next governor of the state of California. Go Steve Hilton. We can hold out some hope for that anyway. All right, it's going to do it for us. Have yourselves a great Thursday. Enjoy the weather out there today. And Kim and I will see you back here in Drew even tomorrow morning starting at 5 a.m. See you then.